They're getting healthier now. Victor Martinez is back. Pronk will be back. Travis Hafner in a short amount of time. They lost so much pitching. They're number 2 and 3 starting, Kimona and Westbrook. So they've had a lot of injuries. They're getting healthy now, and they have Grady Sizemore, who's a 30-30 guy.
And what does Victor Martinez bring to the table with him coming back into that lineup?
Well, not only a catcher that can hit from both sides and hit over 300, but his leadership is so important for the Tribe.
And then, of course, Grady Sizemore, who you had mentioned as well, too. Here's a guy that enters the 30-30 club. He goes out, he sets the table, much like Ichiro does for Seattle. He does that job for the Cleveland Indians.
A quiet superstar, a 2-time All-Star, but 30-30. So now he'll probably get those props that we think he deserves.
Well, for Grady Sizemore, it is yet another incredible season for him as he tries to lead those Cleveland Indians. We now turn things over to our colleague Mike Yam, who talks more about Grady Sizemore and his accomplishments in 2008.
He's had 2 home runs this year against Tigers pitching. He skies this one in the air to deep left center field. Granderson intends, and that ball is gone, a home run.
On the second pitch of the game Monday night, Cleveland center fielder Grady Sizemore became just the second Indians player in history to join the 30-30 club, becoming the 32nd player in baseball history to accomplish the feat.
Another long drive, deep left center, number 30, out of here, J-Roll.
Last season, 3 players joined the club, including Jimmy Rollins, Mets third baseman David Wright, and Reds second baseman Brandon Phillips also hit over 30 home runs and stole 30 bases apiece.
The 1-0, there goes Carter. The slow curve is inside. Throw through to second base, and Carter is a 30-30 man.
Before Sizemore, Joe Carter touched them all 32 times, and he nabbed 31 bases in 1987, becoming the first Indian player in history to claim membership into the 30-30 club. Among the other center fielders to go 30-30, Willie Mays, Dale Murphy, and Carlos Beltran, but Sizemore may have bigger goals on the horizon.
Swinging a drive, hit high in the air, way back into right field. Grady Sizemore putting on a show tonight.
In the third inning, Grady belted another homer, putting him just 9 home runs and 6 stolen bases shy of some very exclusive company.
Sizemore's continued to roll up the charts, picking up yet another steal. He has 35 now as he takes it into today's action. A nice, clear day here in the Cleveland area. 79 degrees. No clouds in the area as well, Billy, so we're hoping for not just a beautiful day, but a great backdrop to all that can be for this game today. The Cleveland Indians and the Seattle Mariners. Let's start things off with the visiting Seattle Mariners starting lineup. At the top, of course, Ichiro Suzuki out in right field. Batting second is Jeremy Reed, the center fielder. In the third spot, the third baseman, Adrian Beltre. Raul Ibanez hits cleanup and plays left. Jose Lopez is at second, hitting fifth. Hitting sixth is Jeff Clement, and he is doing the catching. Tug Hewlett will bat 7th and be the DH. Brian LaHare hits 8th and plays 1st. And Yuniesky Betancourt is the shortstop and bats 9th. The lineup for the Seattle Mariners, a talented one because if Ichiro gets on, there are some good sluggers behind him that can knock him in. But ultimately, you have a ton of speed in this lineup, Billy, and that's, I imagine, what Jim Riggleman would want to do most if the Mariners can get some base runners.
Well, Vinny, you have speed. You have the 40 stolen bases from Ichiro. He stole 40 last night, but they have 81 total. So you don't really want one person to have half of your steals. And when you consider that Willie Bloomquist is on the DL, he has 14, does Willie. So you're missing some stolen bases from anybody outside of Ichiro. So if Ichiro is having one of those days where he's taking a 1 for 5, then it limits your offense a little bit. But as we looked at that lineup card, you wonder how that team could lose 83 games more than anybody else in the American League.
Well, for the Cleveland Indians, looking to stop that Mariner lineup on the mound will be Anthony Reyes. The young right-hander comes in, newly acquired by the Cleveland Indians after a long stint with the St. Louis Cardinals. He was highly touted, Billy, in that Cardinals system. He had a real rough last season. Losses kept piling up. I'm not sure if that affected his psyche, but ultimately Reyes, the sky seems to be the limit for this guy, and he's trying at this point to get himself back to that point.
Yeah, you're right, Vinny. He had trouble getting that first win last year. Took a lot of losses in a row, but you have to keep in mind that he won Game 1 for the Cardinals in the 2006 World Series.
The umpires for today's game: behind home plate, Jim Reynolds. Over at first is Tim Timmons. Gary Cedarstrom, the crew chief, was over at second base, and Fielding Culbreth over at third. Here's a crew. You talk about how the crew themselves for umpiring never really have a home game. Well, that's the case, of course. This crew just made its way over from New York in the Yankees-Red Sox series, and now they're doing the duties here for Seattle and for Cleveland.
And that was the crew chief, Gary Cedarstrom. A fine umpire, fine big league umpire.
Ichiro Suzuki steps in. We'll be talking about him throughout the broadcast. A leadoff hitter extraordinaire for the Seattle Mariners. Absolutely beautiful day here at Progressive Field. Reyes steals the first pitch, and that's in there for a strike. Underway here in Cleveland. Ichiro's average always consistently above 300. He'll give you a little bit of pop.
He's slumping that 311.
This one back up the middle, hit slowly charging and looking to make the barehanded play is Peralta, but the speed of Ichiro beats it out for an infield hit.
That's Ichiro. Didn't hit it hard. Had a little backspin as it went through the middle. Base hit. Put it in your pocket.
First pitch comes through, 3:57 local time, East Coast time. Jeremy Reed digs in, the center fielder. Reed on the season, a .273 hitter. Ichiro leads off first. Ichiro picked up his 40th stolen base of the season in last night's contest. He takes his lead with Garco holding him on first. That's a first pitch ball.
That 40 is number 2 in the American League. Jacoby Ellsbury leading the league.
Well, the Mariners will want to get something started. The middle of the lineup, we talked about how they have the potential to be powerful. Adrian Beltre has never quite been the Beltre of his days in Los Angeles. Of course, Richie Sexson no longer with the club. They had a couple of big boppers, but it has now turned over to guys like Jeremy Reed and Ichiro Suzuki to get the job done at the top of the lineup.
Well, Beltre hasn't approached the 48 homers he had in Los Angeles, a lot bigger yard at Safeco.
There's a ball down low.
But I tell you what, he's never let his offense, or in the first couple of years, a lack thereof, affect his defense. He can really throw some leather out there. Was rewarded last year, winning his first Gold Glove.
Check over to first. Ichiro is back. 2 balls, 1 strike. Nobody out here, top half of the first inning of play. Reyes comes set. Now he steps off once again.
Reed's one of those guys that came up a couple of years ago, a few years ago, and might have been a little too young for that position. Went back down to the minors.
Ichiro's going. This one is skied to deep behind second base. Peralta there to make the play. He will have a throw. He will not make it, though. Ichiro able to speed back into first. So what away here in the first inning?
It was fun watching Ichiro not know where the ball was and looking for help. And he had to hustle back. He takes off. He knows it's somewhere. He sees it up there. He's looking towards third. Somebody says, get back in a hurry. And he does.
Here's Adrian Beltre. Beltre on the season just hitting .252, but he does have 21 home runs to go with 65 RBIs. Beltre really that lone big power guy right now in that Mariner lineup. He and Ibanez have picked up the slack. I wonder what it was, though, for Beltre. So many people alluded to whether it was just a change in approach, a different type of stance that he was bringing. The ballpark shouldn't have been an issue. Going from Los Angeles to Seattle should be fairly similar, Billy.
Well, there are times where the ball will carry at Dodger Stadium. I don't know if you have the same kind of carry at Safeco, but it may have been just one of those career years, and he certainly picked the right time to have one.
Ichiro leading off once again. The 0-1 pitch. This is tapped over towards second. Cabrera picks it up, scoops it over to second for one to throw to first. In time, a double play turn by the Indians defense, and the Mariners are through here in the first. We go to the bottom half of the first inning of play. No score here from Cleveland, but the Mariners nothing, the Indians coming to bat. This is MLB.TV.
Are you an adrenaline junkie? At Grind TV on Yahoo Sports, you can submit your own videos or watch the pros in action. Check out the most outrageous, untamed, and awe-inspiring sports videos on the web, surfing, skateboarding, motocross, and so much more. For the sickest action sports videos, check out Grind TV on Yahoo Sports.
Here's a look at the Cleveland Indians lineup. At the top, Grady Sizemore. As he looks at a first pitch ball, batting in the second spot, Franklin Gutierrez out in right. Ben Francisco is your designated hitter, hitting third. Johnny Peralta, the shortstop, hits fourth. Ryan Gark goes over at first, followed by Shin-Soo Choo out in left field. Kelly Shopik behind the plate hits seventh. Andy Marte over third. And as Jubal Cabrera will hit ninth, he is the second baseman. Bottom half of the first inning of play. No runs for the Mariners in the top half. The Indians will get their crack at it here in the bottom half of the first inning. Sizemore, we've talked a lot about him already. Part of that 30-30 club. Another stolen base last night to give him 35 for the season. Already with 31 home runs. The average a little lower than what we're used to seeing out of Grady, but certainly a guy who could put up MVP numbers year in, year out. Slices this one down the left field line, and it's a fair ball up against the wall. Sizemore hustles into second, gives a wide turn at second, but the throw comes in from Ibanez, so a leadoff double for Grady Sizemore.
And you were saying about that average, it's moving up towards its career average of 280.
So a tough start for Jarrett Washburn here in the early going. He gets the start for the Seattle Mariners. Washburn, well, for him, the record is not exactly what is indicative of what Jarrett Washburn can do, Billy. Here is a guy who gets the absolute least run support in the American League. And that's been consistent for him for the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, going back to 2005. No run support, though, with that ERA and the 4.8s. You really can't complain too much about lack of run support.
First pitch swinging by Franklin Gutierrez, who fouls it away. 3.7 runs of cushion for Jarrett Washburn per outing. Now that's tough for the lefty to have to go out and get that little run support on a day-in, day-out basis.
Yeah, it seems as though there's that one pitcher every year that doesn't get the required number of runs to be successful, and Jarrett has had those for 3 years straight.
It's probably a lot, Billy, why his name came up during the trade deadline so often. I mean, you look at the record and you say, how is it that a guy who comes in at 5-14 was the discussion of so many teams in a pennant race?
Well, the Twins had interest, the Yankees had interest, and yet he's still here.
Sizemore off second, the 1-1. Hit over towards second base. Lopez picks it up, throws to first, and Sizemore successfully moves over to third.
Good fundamental ball. Something the Mariners were not able to do to advance the base runner in their half of the first, and Franklin Gutierrez able to find a fastball outer half of the plate, and he just went that way.
Here's the rest of the Seattle defense. Beltre, Betancourt, Lopez, and Lahair in the infield. From left to right, Raul Ibanez, Jeremy Reed, and Ichiro Suzuki. And behind the plate, Jeff Clement. The pitch from Washburn. Ball 1-0. Well, you hit the nail on the head, though, Billy. In that first inning, the Mariners unable to move runners over, as Jeremy Reed could not move Ichiro over after the leadoff hit. And then the ensuing double play. Here's Sizemore already on third with just one out. An opportunity here for Ben Francisco, who in his own right is swinging a real good bat lately for the Indians. And he fouls this one back up behind home plate.
.339 in his last 13 contests. And the infield this early in the game has to play back. The only out on the infield would be if you hit it back at Washburn or possibly to third. And it's important because Cleveland is 47-28 when they score first.
Washburn deals in the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, Jim Riggleman has had quite a job taking over the Seattle managing their club after, of course, John McLaren was let go. He has had to right a ship that most people thought at the beginning of the season was already right. Yet things just did not turn out that way for Seattle.
They got Eric Bedard, a front end of the rotation guy, to go with King Felix. Carlos Silva back into the rotation. Miguel Batista was their 5th starter. He won 15 games as there's ball 4.
So Francisco is aboard. Now runners on the corners. And that'll bring up Johnny Peralta. Well, you had mentioned Washburn. His name come up in a couple of different trade rumors. Minnesota was one of them. Now, Milwaukee, everybody always says he's from Wisconsin, so Milwaukee would be the best fit. But he actually grew up in western Wisconsin, which is about the town of Danbury, which is about just under a 2-hour drive from Minneapolis. So those talks with the Twins would have probably put him in his true home.
That's a great point.
But it never materialized, and Washburn, after all the rumors, remains a Mariner. Peralta, 279, 21 home runs, and 73 RBIs this season.
He has a $10 million a year price tag coming over from the Angels.
Back up the middle, caught by Washburn. The throw to first is in time, and the Mariners are out of the inning. What a defensive play by Jared Washburn to get the Mariners out of this bottom of the first. Not much more you could do from Johnny Peralta. He lined that one back up the middle, but a great job by Washburn. We're scoreless.
How do you want to see the game? You want to be closer? Well, this is no ordinary ticket. This is your ticket to baseball heaven in high definition. Sharp Aqua's the official HD TV of Major League Baseball. And with a blazing 4-millisecond response time and a super fast refresh rate, there isn't a shot in the hole or a streamer down the line that will singe the hair in your nostrils. It will change your baseball-loving life.
Aqua's LCD TV. Change your TV, change your life. Sharp.
Are you an adrenaline junkie? At Grind TV on Yahoo Sports, you can submit your own videos or watch the pros in action. Check out the most outrageous, untamed, and awe-inspiring sports videos on the web, surfing, skateboarding, motocross, and so much more. For the sickest action sports videos, check out Grind TV on Yahoo Sports.
We go to the top of the second, but that is because of a great defensive play by Jared Washburn. Billy, how about the instincts of Washburn, not only to make the play, but then throw over to first and record the double play?
Well, that may be the most important pitch he throws all afternoon, because if that gets through, Cleveland's on the board, and they have runners at first and second with one out.
Boy, that was a screamer by Peralta. And the effort, well, it turns into a double play.
And that's why that hitting with runners in scoring position sometimes is a little misleading.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you struck the ball very well.
Here's been the real big bopper for the Seattle Mariners. Raul Ibanez, a .302 average. You saw 22 home runs, 92 RBIs. For Anthony Reyes, a very successful 7-pitch first inning. The air show taking place in the local area just off the skyline of Cleveland and over Lake Erie.
Air show today. We had the Browns yesterday. Or was it 2 days ago, the Browns? And a good crowd here at Progressive Field.
You're saying this is the place to be?
Yes.
The O2 in the dirt. That's blocked by shopping.
I'm glad you interpreted that for me. I appreciate that.
A ball and 2 strikes to Ibanez. Ibanez, a big home run last night. Helped the Mariners to a victory over the Indians. The Indians saw that 10-game winning streak come to a close.
In fact, Raul drove in all 3 runs for the Mariners last night.
He has had to be the big source of offense for Seattle after Sexton left. And even shows that, that at some point when some people thought maybe he had just passed his prime, that wasn't the case. He still can go up there and hit, but he seems to get lost at times in the shuffle, playing in Seattle, playing for a team right now that is over 30 games below 500. Yet at the end of the year, look at his numbers. Look at his numbers as of this very moment. Over a 300 average. Probably finish with 30 homers and 100 RBIs. And a base hit here into right field for Ibanez as he continues to hit.
And he's 36 years of age. Took him a while to really establish himself, but your best players offensively are the ones in their mid-30s. Ichiro at 34.
Let's take a look at the defense for the Indians behind Reyes. Andy Marte, Johnny Peralta, Asdrubal Cabrera, and Ryan Garco in the infield. Shin-Soo Choo out in left with Grady Sizemore and Franklin Gutierrez from left to right, and Kelly Shopik back behind the plate. So for the second straight inning, the Mariners have put their leadoff man aboard. And a first pitch strike to Jose Lopez.
We're talking about the players that are on a team that have 83 losses. There you have Jose Lopez in his first full season, made the All-Star team. So you have some numbers and some people with significant resumes.
How about Lopez developing into a middle-of-the-order guy? At the beginning of the year, it was very easy to point out that Lopez and Betancourt made up one of the better up-the-middle defensive tandems in the entire American League. Yet now you could talk about those numbers as you just alluded to, Billy, and say that Lopez is becoming more of that five-tool type of threat.
12 homers in a park is not a home run hitter's park.
Runners going, swing and a miss. The ball on a one-hopper is grabbed up the middle by Cabrera, who tags Ibanez for the out. So Ibanez caught stealing for the first out of the inning.
I assume this is a straight steal. No, he's looking back. Is Raul, and the one hopper. What a tag. Vinny alluded to it. You have to have quick hands. And one of the things that Cabrera did for Cleveland last year when he came up towards the end of the season, played outstanding defense, but he swung and hit the ball a little bit better than he has so far this year, as Lopez will take the bat back to the dugout.
So 2 away here in the inning. Take one more look at the strikeout of Lopez. Great action there, Billy.
That's a tight curveball there. Has more of a slider look to it. But Anthony throws, spots his fastball, throws an occasional change, and has a real tight curveball.
Jeff Clement, first round draft pick, catcher for the Mariners here, steps in and looks at a first pitch ball. Statistically not where Clement wants to be. But again, this takes us back to the top of the broadcast, Billy, where you said the Mariners have some decisions on their hands, who in fact will get the brunt of the time behind the plate.
Well, he's been in and out of the lineup, so you're not going to have the consistency to put up big numbers, but I think they're going to be pleased with him. They've seen enough out of him. There was some talk earlier that he might spend some time at first base as well as behind the plate. But I wonder, with the way that Brian LaHare has been playing, maybe they've shelved those thoughts. As it is, if he and Jojima are there together, they're going to have to split time. And Burke, this year, they've had to split time 3 ways.
Well, now, Clement was a hard hitter at USC. I mean, there's a reason he was a first-round draft pick. Here's a guy with a ton of power. And even more so, at the plate was where he was projected to be a big league starter, as opposed to what he could do at the behind the plate. But here Clement goes down on strike, so 2 Ks in the inning for Anthony Reyes. So after yet again another leadoff single for Seattle, no runs to show for it. We go to the bottom half of the second inning of play. No score here in Cleveland. The bottom half of the second inning will feature Ryan Garko, Shin-Soo Choo, and Kelly Shopik for the Cleveland Indians. The 5, 6, and 7 hitters and the order facing Jared Washburn. Still scoreless here in Cleveland. And the first pitch is low for a ball. Ryan Garko, that .256 average to go with 10 home runs and 70 RBI on the season. The 1-0, and that's a called strike inside corner.
And he's been hot to get up to .256. He had a slow start this year, as did a lot of the Tribe hitters.
Back up the middle, under the glove of Washburn, fielded by Lopez, takes his time and makes the throw to first. One away. No, Lopez did a nice job of moving to his right to make the play, identifying that Garko was the man running down the line, which gave him an extra second or two to make the throw.
What are you saying? He counted the stitches on the ball before he threw the first?
Is that how the players would interpret such a thing? Victor Martinez recently back with the Cleveland Indians. Boy, he is a guy, even more so, I think, Billy, than Travis Hafner, who's missed as the first pitch to Shin-Soo Choo is down and in, but it's called a strike.
Yeah, if you have a DH as a leader and a catcher as a leader, I think your catcher takes a little more, I don't know the term, but has a little more of an influence with the team, and Victor certainly has done that.
Well, even more so when Hafner was healthy for the better part of the last year and a half. He wasn't putting up the numbers that Martinez has been putting up. I mean, Hafner's been not just in an injury slump, but in an actual, when he's playing, he's been in a slump and been unable to figure out how to get that power back. Martinez, though, that right there is probably the heart of the order when he's out.
Yeah, 300 hitter with power from both sides, can throw base hits out, play a little first base when he's not catching. But Pronk seemed to have a little trouble during the postseason last year, and for whatever reason it carried into this season. Travis Hafner.
A ball and 2 strikes. Washburn deals, and that just misses. The count moves even. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Well, that would be the Blue Angels. And Choo can't hold up his swing, so he's down on strikes. So first strikeout of the afternoon for Washburn, 2 away.
And it seems to me that because of the start time of this game, you're going to have the shadows and the shade, which I guess is both, the sun and the shade. Nice breaking ball outside part of the plate.
Either way, that'll be difficult to count the stitches.
That's right. It's going to. You're right. And the spin and the stitches, and Mr. Choo understands that.
The first pitch to Kelly Shopik. He is swinging on that first pitch and swings through for a strike. We just got a shot there of the Blue Angels making their way. Of course, we mentioned it is the air. There's an air show going on right now, just right out downtown Cleveland. Every once in a while, you'll hear of a player who maybe has made the trip onto one of the planes and gone for a ride with the pilots. Inevitably, when they get off the plane, they look like they had just been sent through the incinerator.
A little trouble with the stomach.
I don't think I'd know which direction was up and down when I got off if I got off one of the Blue Angel planes.
I'm getting queasy just thinking about it.
Judging by your response, it sounds like
yes,
you.
Yes.
Did you just get off a Blue Angel plane, Billy? Down and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes now.
There is a story about a Hall of Fame pitcher who was here and heard what we have just heard over the last inning and a half and failed to go back out to the mound because of the fear of the noise and all that comes with it.
Shopik taps one foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bottom half of the second inning of play. Still a scoreless affair, and that was thanks in part to a great defensive play by Jared Washburn to end the first on a line drive off the bat of Johnny Peralta. Upstairs, full count, 3-2, the count to Shopik.
And we're talking about Seattle trying to avoid losing 100 games for the second time in franchise history. Well, Cleveland, 3 games under 500. It'd be nice for them to finish up 500 or better. They have something to shoot towards.
Lined into left center field. That's a base hit for Shopik. Shopik looks towards second, makes a wide turn, but the throw quickly comes back in. So a 2-out single for Shopik. That right there is the second hit of the game for the Cleveland Indians. Shopik did a nice job just getting a piece of the bat on that ball.
Yeah, keep your hands back. Even when you're fooled a little bit, as long as you keep your hands back, you have enough left in your swing to line it over the infield. If you bring your hands with you, it's nearly impossible to get any loft into the swing.
First pitch swinging here for Andy Marte, who lifts it into deep right center field. This is up off the wall. Fielded by Reed. They're going to send Shopik around third. The relay throw coming to the plate. It is in time. An incredible relay for the Seattle Mariners from Reed to Betancourt to Clement at home. And the Mariners keep the Indians off the board. We've played 2 here at Progressive Field. Still no score between the Seattle Mariners and the Cleveland Indians. This is MLB.TV.
Hey, this is Curtis Graham.
Hey, this is Adam Dunn.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
For all your Dodger gear. For all your Red Sox gear.
For all your Yankees gear.
For all your Blue Jay gear.
For your Cincinnati Reds gear.
For all your Twins gear.
Visit the official online shop of Major League Baseball at MLB.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including clubhouse caps and t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the MLB.com shop today.
How do you want to see the game? You want to be closer? Well, this is no ordinary ticket. This is your...
Off to the top half of the third. The air show continues here in downtown Cleveland. And there's just a couple of the moves that are being made. See, that would be right about that point, Billy, where I would probably lose consciousness.
I've already beat you there.
I'm just as equally impressed that they are able to stay so close, all in a perfect line. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Now, I wonder, are they landing in the lake? I'm not sure exactly where their ultimate destination is.
Is that real fire? Somebody really on fire there?
No, I don't have a good answer for you. I'm sure that those, though, part of the Golden Knights parachute team would be able to give you a better answer. But I'm pretty sure it's not fire. Bottom third of the order due up for the Seattle Mariners. Tug Hewlett, Brian LaHare, and Yuniesky Betancourt. Reyes still has faced the minimum amount, even though he has allowed 2 singles. Ichiro and Raul Ibanez each led off the first and second with a hit. Neither has even made it to second base. Tug Hewlett, the designated hitter for this afternoon's game. Left-handed hitter steps in, ahead in the count 1-0. The pitch on the way. Fouled away, 1-1.
If the name sounds familiar, it's because he's the son of Tim Hewlett, who also was a big league infielder for a number of years.
Tug even in the count right here, the 1-1 pitch. That just misses, 2-1.
We've had some good defense, though. A number of base runners already erased.
Two sparkling defensive plays in the early going by the Seattle Mariners. And if there's anything that we have brought up so far in this broadcast, Billy, that suggests that that's a good thing. It's one, that run support on a day when Jared Washburn pitches is very remote.
Correct. Good point.
And two, that lineup has been struggling as of late as well. Well, this one is lifted into deep right center field, way back towards the track, and it is gone. A solo blast for Tug Hewlett, and the Mariners take the 1-0 lead here in the third. For Hewlett, his first career home run, a solo shot, and it puts Seattle on the board here first in the third inning.
Well, Vinny, we talked about base runners getting erased. One on a double play, one on a caught stealing. But you can't erase this. About 410 feet away in right center field.
Well, now begins the process of Indians officials making their way out into right field. They will have to locate that ball. There's a moment that you'll always remember, Billy.
Yeah, and I hope he gets the ball back.
First major league home run for Tug Hewlett right there.
Someone tried to barter with me on my first.
what was the offer?
I don't know. I had to get them tickets and
broken back bat up the middle. Reyes stays with it and is able to throw out Lahair. One away.
I thought we'd settled on what I was going to give to get the ball back. As here, Cutter in on his hands. I tell you what, baseball and more importantly the union, I think, is going to have to do something about these bats whirling towards their rank and file. I realize that offense means a lot. Offense brings in more revenue, but somebody's going to get one of those bats whirling right around their neck, and then it's going to be too late. Have to change the maple or the requirements for it or something, because I'm getting tired of seeing it.
Yeah. It becomes dangerous for, I guess, for the fans in the first couple of rows, unless they're following it, but for the player even more so, because you're focusing on the ball. Well, right. Closer, that's absolutely right. But right there, I mean, Reyes is doing his best job of trying to stay out of the way of the bat and still stick with the ball and make the play.
I saw one where Chipper Jones shot away from a broken bat, twirling towards him. Ball came towards him and he just gave it up. They gave him an error. I'm going, wait a minute.
Ichiro Suzuki 1 for 1 in this game. He's on deck. In there for a strike. 2 balls and a strike now to Yuniesky Betancourt. Betancourt along with Lopez, that defense up the middle we talked about from Seattle. And a swing and a miss there.
And Vinny, not just up the middle, but on the left side, period. Because we talked about Beltre and he winning a Gold Glove last year.
Defense so far is what has kept the Indians off the board. 1-0 Seattle out in front. Tug Hewlett with his first major league home run. Outside. Full count now to Betancourt. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, top of the third. And Betancourt has all the makings of a guy that could kind of be the start of a top of the lineup by batting ninth, which a lot of teams tend to utilize, and he'll get that shot here over on first. Well, that'll bring up Ichiro Suzuki. Ichiro 1 for 1 with an infield single. He was later erased due to a double play by Adrian Beltre, but for Ichiro so far it has been an impressive resume.
Oh yeah, 5 years after he retires, he's going to the Hall.
Billy, I would agree with you. I don't think there's any question that Ichiro is Hall of Fame bound. I don't think it's even because of the 3,000 career hits. I know that that was an issue as Ichiro lifts one into left center field. This one over in the corner, but grabbed by Grady Sizemore. Sizemore able to call off Chu, make the play, and get the ball back in quickly for the second out of the inning.
Oh, did we mention that he has a Gold Glove too? A Gold Glover robbing a Gold Glover. They represent 2/3 of the Gold Gloves in the American League. Torrey Hunter has the other one from last year, and that's almost routine for Grady.
So Sizemore able to erase Ichiro for out number 2. Pickoff attempt over first base. Betancourt is back. Even with the 3,000 combined hits, now those hits are between the major leagues here in the United States as well as his time in Japan. He's well on his way to probably reaching 2,000.
He'll have that next year.
Oh, yeah. In the major leagues. He is, as you had mentioned, over 200 hits and on pace to do it once again this year for every season in his career. He's got a Rookie of the Year. He's got an MVP. And on top of it, all the Gold Gloves.
7.
He's cool, calm, and collected. And I would agree with you when you said at the top of the broadcast, he's one of those guys that you will gladly pay to go see because he is that exciting to watch.
I would pay to hear him come into the clubhouse and ask, "What's up, dog?"
And he clearly wants to stay in Seattle. That's why that contract discussion there was discussion. Would he go elsewhere? Where else would he want to go? Would he stay on the West Coast? But for Ichiro, it's all about Seattle, and now it's just really a question of, are the Mariners on pace to do something special? And I think we all thought that 2008 was the beginning of that, but it is certainly taking a step backward here, at least in this season.
Yeah, he signed that multi-year deal last year for $20 million per. He may be a bargain.
Pitch on the way. Fouled out of play from Reed.
Benny, you had mentioned something earlier about Betancourt being that speed. It could be at the bottom of the lineup, and that sounds good, except you're going to have more than 2 stolen bases. I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but he has been caught a couple of times as well.
He's got a medium-sized lead over at first. Garco holding him on. 2 outs in the inning. The 1-2 pitch. Reed able to send one down the left field line, giving chase is Chew. He's there, and he's able to make the play. So the Mariners unable to capitalize after the home run, but a big moment in the career of Tug Hewlett. His first Major League home run. It gives the Mariners a 1-0 lead as we move to the bottom of the 3rd on MLB.TV.
Are you an adrenaline junkie? At Grind TV on Yahoo Sports, you can submit your own videos or watch the pros in action. Check out the most outrageous, untamed, and awe-inspiring sports videos on the web, surfing, skateboarding, motocross, and so much more. For the sickest action sports videos, check out Grind TV on Yahoo Sports.
A 1-0 lead right now for the Seattle Mariners over the Cleveland Indians. Into the bottom half of the 3rd inning of play we go. Jared Washburn back out on the bump. His first pitch is in there for a strike. To the man of the day, I guess you could say. It's Asdrubal Cabrera stepping in. And it's Asdrubal Cabrera bobblehead day. You might not have heard me. There's an air show going on. It's Asdrubal Cabrera bobblehead day here at Progressive Field.
Now, I know he had a big second half of the season last year, but he has maybe 1 full year in the big leagues. You got a bobblehead after 1 year?
Billy, I'm thinking of making you a bobblehead after this broadcast.
Sounding a little envious.
She's got one down there. We have one up in the booth as well too. It actually doesn't look so bad. It looks like Asdrubal Cabrera. Yeah. Sometimes you get the mold done,
me? Yeah.
And you go, yeah, that's not. I mean, they have bobbles and all, but it's not really Asdrubal. This time, a perfect strike. Once you get out of the casing, I promise, it looks perfect. So Cabrera gets a walk. to lead off the bottom half of the third inning.
And if it's your day, then you have to do something at the plate. So this is a start for Asdrubal.
Here comes Grady Sizemore. Billy, listen to this. Grady Sizemore with his double back in the first inning became the first Indian ever to compile a season in which he has 30-plus homers, 30-plus steals, and now 30-plus doubles.
Wait a minute.
The first Indian ever with that double back in the first.
Earl Averill didn't do that?
No.
Joe Carter didn't do that?
No. I could play this game all day because that first Indian ever comment that came through.
Pat Tabler didn't do that?
No, he did not. So for Sizemore, he continues to put accomplishments under his belt. He's behind in the hole here, 0-2 with a runner on first. 1-0 Seattle. Tug Hewlett's first major league home run has given the M's the lead. Washburn deals. Well, that just misses 1 and 2.
Well, Seattle gave Jared his run today. Make it stand up.
We might get you 2.7 more. We're just letting you know that's about the average. Outside once again. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Sizemore.
I remember one time I was playing and we had a slight lead, maybe a 1-run lead in the middle of the game, and the starting pitcher came in and said, "Okay, guys, get me some more." And I thought, I didn't really need to hear that. You're telling me you don't think you have enough out there. Dropped down a little bit on Grady that time, and Sizemore will take the bat back to the dugout. Second strikeout for Washburn.
Is that a question, Billy, of, boy, my confidence just totally dropped as we take another look at Washburn's strikeout pitch of Sizemore.
Good slide piece there. You're just trying to protect the outside part of the plate, but the ball kept running away from you.
Well, after all the accomplishments he has racked up lately, he's okay. Head back to the dugout once in a while. Here is Franklin Gutierrez, 0 for 1, a ground out to second. Ball 1. Cabrera over on first. Cabrera walked to lead off the inning. Washburn comes set once again. He deals. That's a called strike. 1 and 1.
Yeah, Jared had Asdrubal moving back towards first base. Just in case you're thinking that Cleveland could put a play on. You'd probably want to read the pickoff move a little better.
Another check over to first, but Cabrera's back.
Yeah, that was a courtesy one there.
You wonder when a pitcher wants to use, especially a lefty, use his best pickoff move. As Washburn will check once again. There's probably some sort of a mix in there, Billy. Billy, you were a big base stealer as well during your time. Now, were you able to distinguish, all right, that was just to determine what moves I was making, and that was the I'm trying to get you out pickoff move?
Yeah, not against some of the good left-handers. And there were a couple, I guess today you have Kenny Rogers and Andy Pettit, and Washburn has a good move as well. In my day, it was people like Mike Flanagan, an outstanding runner. I don't think he knew where he was going before he lifted his leg.
I don't want to let the viewers slide by without knowing that you are, in fact, the 5th leading base stealer in 1983.
Thank you, Vinny. And when Ricky Henderson was stealing over 100, nobody got down to 44. It's like he never existed.
Was Ricky caught stealing the amount of times that everybody else was stealing?
That's about right.
Line down the left field line, but foul.
When he set the major league record, he also set the record for caught stealing.
Oh, that's like Cy Young.
Yes.
No one's going to catch his record for wins, but no one's going to catch his record for losses. It's just how it is.
Great point.
If you get over 300 losses, I guess that's impressive because you stayed in the game. But at the same point, you had a rough career.
You're not going to get the opportunity to stay out there for more than 200 losses.
Now, Jared Washburn out on the hill right now for Seattle is He's given it his best shot. He has had the least amount of run support of any American League pitcher since the year 2005. Just 3.7 runs have been given to him from his team. But because of it, well, he's in danger of getting another 15-plus lost season. When he's got 2 outs now here in this inning, he's got the 1-run lead, but the way he's going, it seems as if that's what he's going to be dealt.
That's a good point. And I think you sense that sometimes. When you're in the dugout, you sense that this is going to be a low-scoring game, and you're going to have to eke out some runs and hope you don't throw enough pitches that you're going to leave it up to the bullpen if you leave with a lead. Try to backdoor a curveball there just a little bit outside.
Washburn has 5 straight losses as of the moment. That ties a career high for him. 5 straight losses, for the most in his career. 1 more loss, by the way, would give him his 15th loss of the season, which would mark the 3rd time in the last 6 seasons that he's done so. And it's not because Jared Washburn is not a good pitcher. It's just, again, the lack of run support, some poor luck. And then at times he goes out and has a bad outing, but those usually get sprinkled in for a good left-hander. For Washburn, it seems to be more often than not.
And again, with all of that, it's still a little hard for me to feel sorry for him, as much as I can feel sorry for a pitcher, in that his ERAs and 4.8 something,
right.
And you're pitching at Safeco half your games.
Yeah, and nowadays that gets the job done more often. Well, definitely more than a 5-14 record. As Washburn just reached the 50 pitch mark.
Well, what you're asking is,
bottom of the 3rd.
If he has any more 18-6 with a 3.15 earned run average as he had in 2002, leading the Angels to the World Series.
Lifted into center field. Jeremy Reed moves a couple steps to his left. He settles under it and makes the play. So the Indians unable to cross a run. As we have played 3 innings here at Progressive Field, Seattle owns a 1-0 lead over the Tribe. You're tuned to MLB.tv.
Hey, this is Curtis Grant.
Hey, this is Adam Dunn.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
For all your Dodger gear. For all your Red Sox gear.
All your Yankees gear.
All your Blue Jay gear.
Your Cincinnati Reds gear.
For all your Twins gear.
Visit the official online shop of Major League Baseball at MLB.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including clubhouse caps and t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the MLB.com shop today.
We take a look at our in-game recap. The Mariners own a 1-0 lead over the Indians here at Progressive Field. We move to the top half of the 4th inning of play. Each pitcher so far has limited damage. Some good defensive plays by Seattle. And how about Tug Hewlett, his first career home run coming in the top of the 3rd. It's the only run of the game so far. Seattle 1, Cleveland 0. Anthony Reyes back out there for a 4th inning of work. The first pitch to Adrian Beltre is in there for a strike.
Back him away with a curveball. That's a front door curveball. Adrian having a smile about it. Got him to flinch a little bit, give up the inside corner, and it moved over for a strike.
Why not go back inside, says Reyes.
Yeah, just in case you're leaning out looking for the curveball this time, let me run a fastball in on your hands.
1 ball, 1 strike the count to Adrian Beltre. Reyes into the windup he deals, and that's down and away 2-1.
Adrian just seems to have a great disposition about the game, whether things are going well or things aren't going, or things are going better. And certainly, it's even better if things are going better. always seems to have a smile on his face.
The 2-1. That's down low, 3-1. For Anthony Reyes, Billy, a pitcher, we talked about how Jared Washburn's had some tough luck. Well, for Reyes, a lot of the same. He had a 10-game losing streak that he had to go through. You had mentioned some postseason success with St. Louis as he gets a grounder to short. Peralta is there for the out, so one away in the inning.
Yeah, he got the W in Game 1 of the 2006 World Series. Cardinals were the team that won only 83 games, winning this series over the Tigers. As you look at some of the numbers on Anthony, he's out of USC, 26 years of age. 2-1 this year with Cleveland, 2-1 before he came to Cleveland.
That 10-24, though, just sticks out like a sore thumb in his career with St. Louis. Again, part of it was the 10-game losing streak. And then some of it is just, how about allowing a young pitcher just to catch a stride?
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think Carl Willis, the pitching coach here, has allowed him to do so. Great communication between the two. Sometimes that second time around, hitters and other teams will adjust to you. And maybe they did some of that in the National League. New start, couldn't hurt.
The 1-1 pitch on the way, and it's lifted foul by Ibanez as Reyes is now also past the 50-pitch plateau here in the top half of the fourth.
He threw 107 pitches his last outing. That's the high for him this year. 7 innings against Texas, picked up a no decision.
The 1-2. That's in the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Raul Ibanez. I think you give Reyes a little bit of time. Maybe he shows you something. I have to imagine that's where Mark Shapiro is hoping. As Ibanez laces one into right, it's going to stay right on track for Gutierrez, who's there to make the play. 2 away.
Raul's not missing too many pitches so far in this series. He's hit some balls firmly. As we said earlier, the 3 runs the Mariners scored last night, all off his bat. You got to hang with him from your teammate. A lot of good pats. That works for maybe about 2 of your line drives. Then after a while, you don't want your teammates touching you.
I hear such mixed response from players, Billy. The former players like yourself who say the teammates want to kind of give you the pat on the back. They want to support you in what was either a good swing, a good at bat, whatever the case may be. But you just, as the player, you just can't seem to look past the fact that I still am out. As this one's hit to deep left. Going back is Chus there to make the play on Jose Lopez. So a 1-2-3 inning for Anthony Reyes. We move to the bottom half of the 4th inning of play. It's still a 1-0 lead for Seattle over Cleveland. You're tuned to MLB.tv.
How do you want to see the game? You want to be closer? Well, this is no ordinary ticket. This is your ticket to baseball heaven in high definition. Sharp Aqua's the official HD TV of Major League Baseball. And with a blazing 4-millisecond response time and a super fast refresh rate, there isn't a shot in the hole or a screamer down the line that will singe the hair in your nostrils. It will change your baseball-loving life.
Aqua's LCD TV. Change your TV, change your life. Sharp.
Are you an adrenaline junkie? At Grind TV on Yahoo Sports, you can submit your own videos or watch the pros in action. Check out the most outrageous, untamed, and awe-inspiring sports videos on the web, surfing, skateboarding, motocross, and so much more. For the sickest action sports videos, check out Grind TV on Yahoo Sports.
In the first inning, this line drive by Johnny Peralta, snagged by Jared Washburn. Great reflexes, not only to make the play, wow, from that side angle, you could really see how fast that ball was coming, but Washburn able to record the double play. Peralta to lead things off here in the fourth. He looks at a first pitch ball. Billy, I think only you would be able to describe this as having been on the field, but the closer you get to the action, the more you see the speed of the game. For all those who say baseball moves at a slower pace, all right, maybe in between pitches, and that's if you take away how much communication and strategy is going on in between pitches, but when the game action is happening, I can't believe how fast Washburn had to react right there.
Yeah, we have a great view because it's like you're looking at a picture postcard. As you get closer to the field, you get to see lateral movement. You get to hear the grunts of the pitcher, the popping of the mitt, and the sound of that line drive coming right back at you.
Oh, yeah. Peralta even in the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Washburn deals. That's outside. Full count.
And you get to see the sun and the shadows now as we creep further towards the field, having a 3:55 local start.
And that's only going to get worse. That's a called strike 3. I think Peralta didn't believe it, but he nevertheless is down on strikes, looking one away.
Jim Reynolds may have said, well, how do you know? You left before the pitch crossed the plate. Oh, that's a beautiful pitch there. Yeah, you're walking towards first, hoping. Yeah, about mid-thigh, high, heart of the plate. Fourth strikeout for Washburn.
Yeah, there you go. We're right thinking on that same line there, Billy, as Washburn is cruising right now.
Well, Benny, we've discussed and we've discovered the secret of Washburn. Outside of the fact that he's had hard luck and very little run support in the last 4 seasons. It's a day game. 2.67 earned run average in his 5 day games.
Ryan Garco grounded out to second his last time up.
That left you there speechless, didn't you? You wonder what's going to happen as we get closer tonight.
I can't follow up much more than to say it is a day game, Billy, so based on what you said, it appears the success of Washburn should continue.
Well, as we get closer tonight,
maybe it'll change.
Maybe not, yes.
And maybe Jim Riggleman knows that, and that's when the bullpen starts to warm up.
Jim's hoping to get 7, 8 innings out of him. He has gone 8 only one time this year. And that was at the end of July at Toronto, in which he went 8 innings, gave up only 1 run. There's Jim. Jim and I played double-A ball against each other.
You had his number, right?
He came up in the Cardinals organization. 2nd straight strikeout looking.
No argument from Garco, so he becomes strikeout number 5, and Washburn will now face Shin-Soo Choo, who struck out his first time out back in the 2nd.
Not sure what Ryan was looking for, but he balked a little bit. He'll get him next time.
Choo steps in 0 for 1, and the first pitch he sees is in there for a strike.
Everybody's been utilizing that good first pitch curveball. Reyes did it twice in the last half inning. Washburn's doing it here. Ooh, took something off of it there.
Swing and a miss, strike 2. You mentioned Cleveland. They're trying to get back to 500. That's more or less the benchmark for their close to the 2008 season. The 0-2 pitch. If you're Seattle at this point, you're thinking,
try not to lose 100.
Try not to lose 100. They are technically mathematically eliminated already from the playoffs in 2008. And that doesn't come as much of a surprise with what they've done, but closing out in style would be certainly a good thing for Riggleman and for Jared Washburn. A 1-2-3 inning, all on strikeouts. Down goes Peralta, down goes Garco, and then Shin-Soo Choo goes down for the 2nd time today. 1-0 Antlers. Play for the Seattle Mariners, a 1-0 lead over the Cleveland Indians. It'll be Clement, Hewlett, and LaHare. 6, 7, and 8 due up this half inning for the Seattle Mariners. Anthony Reyes back on the hill once again. And a first pitch. That's a strike as it's fouled out of play, 0-1. We'll fill you in with some scores as well, too, from around the league here on this Saturday afternoon. Chicago and Boston coming up a little bit later, as is KC and Detroit. Already finished today is Toronto, a 7-6 victory over the Yankees, and puts more of a dent in that Yankee chance of whatever might be left to try and reach the postseason.
Well, you keep thinking they've got a run left in them, but certainly time is running out.
2 other games in mid-action right now. A potential playoff preview if the Phillies should make the postseason. It certainly appears that the Cubs will. They own a 1-0 lead, Chicago that is, in the 4th inning from Wrigley Field. And Baltimore owns a 5-3 lead in the 3rd inning over Tampa Bay. That one in Tampa. Clement lifts it out of play once again. 1-2 the count.
Well, to be this late in the season and still have all but one race decided, that being the American League West, I would think everybody's happy in baseball.
We knew that the Angels were a good team this year, but certainly nobody saw that the Mariners would have this kind of a season. The A's fell off the map quickly after a nice start. And Texas, though, putting together a nice surge in the middle part of the season and probably finishing around 500 when all is said and done, none of those 3 teams will even sniff first place where the Angels are.
No, and the Angels really didn't score a lot of runs. That's one of the reasons why K-Rod has so many saves.
Sure.
In that they weren't beating up people, they were just beating people. And Seattle never got off to any kind of start.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Reyes steals. Hit over towards second. Ball fielded by Cabrera over to first in time for the out. And there's one away.
He can pick it. Some talk here on his bobblehead day about sending him down early. But why do that? Because, well, nobody was hitting, and you certainly could have used his defense. And he was so instrumental last year down the stretch for the Tribe.
Here comes Tug Hewlett. For Hewlett, he energized the Mariner offense back in the 3rd inning. Reyes into his windup. He deals. And that's a ball, just misses 1-0. Hewlett picked up his first career Major League home run and came back in the 3rd inning. Here's another look at it. And he basically knew it was gone. That one reached the seats over there, that 375-foot sign. Even the count now. So now 2 balls, no strikes, 1 out. He'll be on cloud 9 for the rest of the day.
I would imagine his dad would be just as proud as his son is. That call home if Dad's not watching the game.
And 30 years from now, when somebody says, Tug, where was your first home run? He's going to say it was at Progressive Field off Anthony Reyes with former Major Leaguer Billy Sample in the house. There was a air show going on in the background. It was a beautiful day. And of course, it'll become more and more impressive. It'll say, grandkids, you know how impressive it was. There were shadows directly between the pitcher's mat and home plate. And I still was able to send one about 400 feet in the right center field.
I don't know. Tug has pretty good size. He might forget that first one with as many as he might hit. But he takes a bat back to the dugout there. Why is it that after a home run, it seems as though the hitter strikes out the next plate appearance more times than not? Fastball just threw it by him upstairs.
I'm not sure I have an answer other than just maybe tensing up a little bit. I mean, well, is that after any homer or just after the first Major League homer?
It's the same situation where the player who makes the great play seems to lead off the inning about 90% of the time.
That does.
You can't explain that.
Here's Brian LaHare. LaHare, a Massachusetts product, grew up outside of Boston. Matter of fact, if I remember correctly, I think his first major league hit came against the Boston Red Sox.
Nice symmetry there. A 39th round draft pick. And he was their organizational player of the year 2 years ago. Which shows you that baseball is not an exact science. The scouting, although you really need to have the scouting. And the scouts themselves are so undervalued in the importance of this game.
That's fouled off. So you sound like you wanted to argue a bit there. Would you not argue that, or would you argue rather that Worcester is not just outside of Boston?
It's about,
you had the
45 minutes west.
All right, well, it's closer to Boston than to Seattle.
Plus traffic, someone says.
The 1-2. Hit back up the middle, and this one will get through. Peralta was playing a shade over towards the second base bag, but still LaHare is on board with his first hit of the day.
This is one of these days where, because of the effectiveness of both starting pitchers, you're going to have to earn every base hit.
Yeah.
And because of the shadows, you're really going to have to earn them. They should go down in a couple innings where the shadows completely engulf the infield, at least.
Ball up and away to Betancourt. A ball and no strikes. That is going to get worse progressively throughout.
Was that a play on
No,
words?
no pun. As I said it, I said, I guarantee you, Billy, in my head, I said, I guarantee you, Billy's going to say, was that a pun? It was not intended, but if you think I'll sound smarter for having tried, we'll go for it. Betancourt lifts one into shallow to mid left field. Shin-Soo Choo is there to make the play and record the third and final out of the inning. So the only run of the game still remains the solo shot from Tug Hewlett. It came back in the third inning. We move to the bottom half of the fifth inning of play. Seattle 1, Cleveland nothing. Here at Progressive Field. This is MLB.TV.
Hey, this is Curtis Grant.
Hey, this is Adam Dunn.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
For all your Dodger gear. For all your Red Sox gear.
All your Yankees gear.
All your Blue Jay gear.
Your Cincinnati Reds gear.
For all your Twins gear.
Visit the official online shop of Major League Baseball at MLB.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including clubhouse caps and t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the MLB.com shop today.
How do you want to see the game? You want to be closer? Well, this is no...
We move to the bottom of the fifth. It's been all Jared Washburn so far for the Seattle Mariners. He's had all his pitches working. And how about just what he has been able to do? Getting how many Indians players to strike out looking so far? 2 of the 5 strikeouts looking, 5 all in total. And through 4 innings of work, rather I should say 6, I apologize. He struck out the side in the 4th inning. That's how impressive he has been, Jared Washburn so far. Looking real effective.
Yeah, trying to get that curveball. We mentioned the last inning that both he and Reyes getting that first pitch curveball over. Unless you're sitting on it sometimes, you almost give the pitcher that one, especially if it's located well.
That's lined down the left field line, but foul. Ball to strike now to Kelly Shopik. Shopik, well, he does technically have a hit in this game, but a great Mariners defensive play from Reed to Betancourt to Clement 8.62. And thrown out at the plate.
Betancourt's arm. You almost have to be at the yard to see it, just how well he threw that relay to the plate to get shopping.
2 balls, 1 strike. 1-0 Seattle here in the bottom half of the 5th inning of play. And that's a strike.
You see a play like that and you realize, okay, that separated me from my high school baseball team to this major leaguer. Okay.
Yeah. Washburn comes into today's action with a record for his career of 98 and 100. So much like a team might do, Washburn, I'm sure, looking at that magical 500 mark, trying to get himself back there, which only speaks volumes as to how effective he was earlier in his career. Because he has had no run support the last 3 years. He is looking at his 3rd 15-loss season in his last 6 years, yet he's just 2 wins shy of 500 for his career.
Well, he has the run he needs. Hold on to it. 1-0. That was his 4th consecutive.
This is it. This is all you're getting.
That's right. 4th consecutive strikeout. 7 overall. His high this year is 8.
First pitch called strike. Andy Marte wanted time. He was not granted time. That's home plate umpire Jim Reynolds.
Yeah, you're batting only 209. You're not getting time. Let's go already.
Now it's 1-1. Marte has been nothing short of an enigma for the Indians and every other organization that he has made his way through. He lifts one into center field. Jeremy Reed shades into right center field. He's there to make the play, and quickly 2 away.
But Vinny, you're talking about Washburn, and we mentioned earlier that it's been a while since his 18-6 season when the Angels won the World Series, coming from behind to defeat the Giants in Game 6 and 7. 18-6 with a 3.15. Wow. You could make money off that year. And he did. $10 million per for 4 seasons.
Billy's getting so good he's setting himself up.
This is year 3.
Asdrubal Cabrera here on Asdrubal Cabrera Bobblehead Day. Yet to register a plate appearance. He walked back in the 3rd inning. The 1-0. Swing and a miss. Strike 1.
Jarrett has everything working today, obviously, the way he's throwing the ball, but now he's starting to get some Tribe hitters to chase the ball out of the strike zone.
2-1. Tap foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. 1 run, 4 hits, no errors for Seattle. No runs, 3 hits, no errors for Cleveland. Seattle's only left 2 men on base. Cleveland only 3 thus far. Base runners are coming at a premium against the pitching thus far this afternoon.
Vinny, you know who Washburn reminds me a little bit of, and both have World Series rings? Mark Burley. Pitches quickly, throws strikes, has a little bit of a cutter.
It's a fair comparison. Now all Washburn needs to do is go out and throw a no-hitter to even up that stake 1 more.
That's why you make the big money.
But you're right, each with a World Series ring. And that's ultimately what the game wants. Cabrera walks, so he's aboard. A 2-out walk here in the bottom of the 5th, back to the top of the order, and Grady Sizemore. Billy, that's a bad walk there with 2 outs. Certainly, I would imagine that if Washburn would say, let's see, when I drove all the way from Atlanta, and all I got was what? What'd that person get? Oh, all I got was the bobblehead. I drove all the way from Atlanta, and all I got was this bobblehead. Getting a great pitcher's duel so far. Here's Grady Sizemore.
But when you haven't had a lot of run support, you're always at 1 pitch away from, well, he was 1 pitch away when that line drive off the bat of Peralta came back at him. That may have been the most important pitch to this point. Again, he has size, more off balance. Grady wanted to know if that pitch was a strike. Jim Reynolds appeared to nod affirmatively.
Sizemore again, part of that 30-30 club. 32nd player in Major League history to do so. First Indian ever to hit for 30 homers, steal 30 bags, and then with his double in the first inning, have 30 doubles in a season as well, too.
He is leading the majors in power speed numbers by far. Hanley Ramirez is second.
Yeah, and he put on a show in the home run derby as well, too. I mean, he doesn't have that prototypical home run hitter body, but he put on a show as he taps one over to short. Betancourt there. Strong throw to first for the final out of the inning. Well, of course, Major League Baseball has had a big part in Major League Baseball. We take a look at some of the technology and its advancements in MLB.
Down the left field line, toward the corner.
Was the ball fair or foul?
That's deep to left center field. All the way back to the wall. Erstad feeling for the post. It stays.
Did the ball go over the wall?
Ortiz to center field. Josh Hamilton headed back. It's up over his head.
Did a fan interfere with the play? Each of these calls is very difficult to make in the split second an umpire has in a Major League Baseball game. And in the race for the postseason, one game, one run, one call could be the difference. Of course, there are famous or infamous examples of how a home run call has changed the course of the game and sometimes of a franchise.
And what happens here? He contends that a fan reaches up and touches it. But Richie Garcia says no, it's a home run.
So far this year, there have been a number of controversial moments that have expedited the decision to put instant replay in play. This umpire replay system, or Blue Review, will be utilized solely to review fair, foul, fan interference, and over-the-wall decisions on potential home runs. So what happens when a play requires review? The state-of-the-art technological hub for the immediate replay process is located at the MLB.com offices in New York City. If a home run ruling is called into question, the crew chief places a call to the MLB.com replay room, where a highly trained technician, under the supervision of an MLB official, slows the appropriate highlight down frame by frame to allow the umpire on the field to watch through a monitor and then make an informed and unbiased ruling based on every available angle. The top priority in any and every Blue Review is for the process to be executed clearly, accurately, and quickly, balancing the integrity of umpires' rulings, fairness of play, and fan enjoyment.
It looks like this may be the correct call. It did look like a fan reached over and caught the ball.
With a keen respect for the tradition and pace of the game, this process will assure that potential human error is both reliably and efficiently correctable.
Top half of the sixth inning of play as Ichiro Suzuki looks at a first pitch in there for a strike. Ichiro, Jeremy Reed, and Adrian Beltre, 1, 2, and 3 in the order, due up here for Seattle. A 1-0 lead in the top half of the sixth. And Ichiro slaps one in left center field. Sizemore is not going to get to this one, and it's in there for a hit. So Ichiro 2 for 3 today.
He can just throw base hits out. It's like he's serving base hits to the outfield. He served one up last night over the second baseman's head. He cued one on the infield earlier, and here just went with the pitch, even though his body motion moves towards first before he finishes his swing.
So Ichiro on first, and here's Jeremy Reed. And Reyes deals first pitch. This is lifted into right center field, giving Chase Sizemore. He has a beat on it, makes the play for out number 1. One away, and that'll bring up Adrian Beltre. Billy, of course, we just saw a piece there on instant replay and how it will affect Major League Baseball, and it's in its third day now. It started up on Thursday night. And again, you have to remember that
it's only for
calls
home runs.
for home runs. Home run balls by the wall, fair or foul, whatever the case may be, is all that will be in question. And that is when the umpire will head to the umpire's room to take a look at the replay as provided by the MLB.com offices back in New York City.
Well, it's up to the crew chief. Here it'd be up to Gary Cederstrom.
You get some tricky spots, as is the case here in Progressive Field over in the right field corner. That yellow line would be the home run, but it dips down after the first couple feet.
In some parks.
Yes.
Not all parks.
Right. Ichiro bluffs, and the pitch is swung on and missed by Beltre. 0-2.
Really had him out in front of a slider. I get the sense that a lot of the commentators and talking heads want that first replay.
Tap back over to short, fielded by Peralta, goes the short way, then there back to first, not in time. So the force is made over at second, but the relay throw unable to get Beltre over at first. Seattle still alive in the inning.
Yeah, this wasn't your typical double play grounder. Beltre was out in front, as he's been out in front of Reyes' pitches this afternoon. That's as quickly as you can make that turn. A close play, but Adrian hustles everything out. Really impressed with how well he plays. And that's a pretty good up the middle. Peralta and Cabrera.
Good call made by Tim Timmons over at first base. So Beltre takes his lead. The first pitch is lifted down the right field line. This ball will be foul.
And not reviewed.
Raul Ibanez nearly left the yard right there. Let's take a look back at Raul Ibanez just one night ago. Billy, you mentioned a 3 RBI performance for the lefty, and this home run helped the Mariners to a victory over the Indians on Friday night.
Which shows he has a kind of power that he doesn't have to hit the ball close to his body and hit it out. He can hit it away from his body, driving it to left center field for the 4-bagger.
Ibanez 1 for 2, although he was caught stealing back in the second inning.
That may have been an aborted hit and run.
Sure. I think you're right. Pitch to Ibanez. And he swings and misses that one. The count moves to 0-2. For Anthony Reyes, this is his first look, Billy, at any Mariner. He has not faced anybody in this Mariner lineup.
Coming over from the Cardinals and the National League.
The case is very different for Washburn. A lot of Indians have had some look at them, but for Reyes, there you see it, 5 2/3 innings so far, just the 5 hits and the 1 run allowed.
And coming over from the National League to the American League, in theory, it's tougher for a pitcher to be successful because you have the legitimate 9 hitters batting in the American League with the designated hitter. Going the other way, as somebody used to pitch here in Cleveland, has had a lot of success going from the American to the National League.
Both teams have made out very well in the deal, as Kelly Shopik with the block. Of course, Billy, you're speaking of the CC Sabathia deal.
Karsten Charles, yes.
Milwaukee and Cleveland both have made out very well in a sense of record, if you want to just say record for the time being.
I think Milwaukee has been a half game better with Sabathia. Nice block there by Shopik to keep that ball in front of him, and Beltre at first.
I mean, when teams are compiling records of 29-16, 27-18, after pulling off a trade in which a star player changes teams, for the time being, both teams consider themselves winners.
And we talked about Cleveland's winning streak. They had a 10-game streak before last night's 3-2 loss.
Billy, you got to remember, this is an organization that Eric Wedge wins Manager of the Year last year. CC Sabathia wins the first Cy Young by an Indians pitcher since 1972. And Mark Shapiro was named the Executive of the Year by the Sporting News. 1 game away from the World Series, and things very different here in 2008. Ibanez pops up to end the inning. We move to the bottom half of the 6th inning of play. Seattle still owns a 1-0 lead. You're tuned to MLB.tv.
Are you an adrenaline junkie? At Grind TV on Yahoo Sports, you can submit your own videos or watch the pros in action. Check out the most outrageous, untamed, and awe-inspiring sports videos on the web. Surfing, skateboarding, motocross, and so much more. For the sickest action sports videos, check out Grind TV on Yahoo Sports.
An absolutely gorgeous day here in Cleveland. We go to the bottom of the sixth. The Indians, well, they've been playing some great baseball as of late. During that 10-game winning streak, the offense was coming in aplenty, but that, of course, was countered by the 10-game losing streak that occurred the end of June into early July. Along with the Angels, the Indians owning the best record in the American League since July the 10th. And that sounds a lot more like the team that we saw last year, Billy.
Yeah, now only 3 games under 500, something to shoot for this last month.
It's been a much different atmosphere in that Indian dugout in 2008 than it was in 2007. Franklin Gutierrez swings through a pitch. The count moves to 0-2.
Everything really has to go together well to have the kind of year that they had last year. And you can't expect that Rafael Betancourt's going to throw the way that he threw in 2007, where you had about a 9-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Just not going to happen year after year.
Lifted down the right field line. Ichiro gives chase. It looks like he'll run out of room, and he will.
Injuries certainly hurt when you lose your number 3 hitter and your number 4 hitter, your number 2 starter and your number 3 starter, and Carmona and Westbrook. And this division has played so close over the last 6, 7, 8 seasons, where you've had different representatives either win the division or represent this division and the American League in the World Series.
The 0-2 pitch in the dirt, 1-2. Let me ask you this, Billy. In the case of the Mariners, I'd be hypocritical if I didn't say that I thought they were going to put together a competitive season in the American League West.
Almost everybody thought that, and I'm not big on, as you look at some of the championships the Tribe has had in the Central.
Well, let me follow up, though, by saying now I will also don't want to be hypocritical in saying I didn't think that the Indians were as good as they were in 2007.
Right, I didn't think they would be either.
So, I mean, I admit I was off in deciphering what the Mariners would do, but the Indians, I don't know, I want to say they'd be below 500, but as far as Gutierrez, by the way, down on strikes for the 2nd straight time. But as far as what the Indians would do, I didn't think it was going to be a 96-win season again. And then back to an ALCS once again as well, too, as Washburn picks up yet another strikeout.
Wow, does this cutter go all the way from the outside edge to the inside edge? And again, difficult to see as we look at just how competitive the American League Central has been over the last 3 seasons.
Bunt attempt right back out in front, and Washburn turns and fires to retire Ben Francisco quickly 2 away here in the 6th.
Good idea by Ben. I'm not exactly sure where he was trying to bunt this. Usually you try to push it past the right side. Again, we take a look at how well the American League Central has played, with the Sox winning in 2005. But I tell you what, if not for the A.J. Pierzynski play, if the Sox don't win that game, they go to Anaheim down 0-2. They're not winning a World Series then either. So sometimes, as Eric Wedge could tell you, takes a play here or there, and you have to be, well, sometimes in good fortune to move to that next level.
Johnny Peralta's 0 for 2. He lined into a double play and a tremendous defensive play by Jared Washburn. And then he struck out back in the 4th. 2 away here in the bottom half of the 6th inning of play. 1 run, 5 hits, no errors for Seattle. No runs, 3 hits, no errors for Cleveland.
I was saying that with Francisco, generally you're trying to push that bunt past the right side of the mound, thinking the left-handed pitcher is going to fall off towards third, which is probably what he was trying to do. And he pushed it right back to the pitcher.
Well, he didn't get the memo then of the great defensive play from Washburn earlier. Clearly his reflexes are on today. A ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs here in the 6th. Washburn deals. Down and away. Count moves even, 2-2.
Yeah, they give Peralta a lot of the up the middle. And that's where he was trying to go his first plate appearance, because Betancourt is playing in the hole at short.
Full count now to Johnny Peralta.
See Unieski closer to the third baseman in a hole at short. Up the middle. Lopez moves a little bit to his right.
Tapped over to third. Beltre fields, fires it to first, and it's in time for the out. So 6 scoreless innings so far for Jared Washburn. We go to the top half of the 7th inning here at Progressive Field. The Seattle Mariners, behind the back of Jared Washburn, have earned themselves a 1-0 lead. You're tuned to MLB.TV.
Hey, this is Curtis Grant.
Hey, this is Adam Dunn.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
For all your Dodger gear. For all your Red Sox gear.
All your Yankees gear.
All your Blue Jay gear.
Your Cincinnati Reds gear.
For all your Twins gear.
Visit the official online shop of Major League Baseball at MLB.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including clubhouse caps and t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the MLB.com shop today.
Well, let's move to the top half of the 7th inning of play. Here's your in-game recap in which the Seattle Mariners have a 1-0 lead over the Cleveland Indians. Tug Hewlett with his first career home run. That came back in the 3rd. It's the only run so far in the game. Jared Washburn has tied a season high with 8 strikeouts so far. Both he and Anthony Reyes have been very effective out on the hill for their respective clubs. Reyes throws a first pitch that just misses down low to Jose Lopez to begin the 7th.
Good pitching, fine defense, some by the pitchers themselves.
Jared Washburn with a stab of a Johnny Peralta line drive that he turned into a double play. There is a defensive outfield assist from Jeremy Reed to the plate. And a swing and a miss by Lopez. The count's 1-1.
And sometimes when you pitch quickly on the mound, it keeps, I know you've heard it before, the defense ready, on their toes.
Lopez stays alive. A ball and 2 strikes. I wonder how also maybe the psyche of a pitcher comes into play when you get a good defensive play behind you, but even more so if you make that play. I mean, Washburn had the energetic fist pump, and I mean, ever since that first inning line drive grab,
right,
it seems as if he's just been in his own separate zone.
Such an ominous play, because not only did he make the play, but he saved himself a run.
Yep.
Kept base runners from being at first and second, or maybe first and third with one out.
2-2.
He'll be curious to see how deep into the contest both starters will go. Reyes went 7 innings in his last start, giving up only 1 run against Texas. That's a pretty good outing.
Ground ball foul.
With the lumber that they can put on a pitching staff.
Well, it doesn't appear that we have action in either bullpen to this point. So it'll be on the shoulders of Anthony Reyes and Jared Washburn, at least for the time being. 2 balls, 2 strikes, no outs in the 7th. In the dirt, full count.
Well, some of it's because of the way they're throwing, but if you're facing a team that doesn't have a lot of offense or not showing you a lot of offense, then just as you speak, bullpen is getting up. Is that Betancourt?
You'd be correct. Ground ball over towards third. Marte. Nice job to scoop it up. A strong throw in time for the out. And there's one away.
That play is a little more difficult than it looks, because you never know, as Andy has a slight smile for Peralta at short, where that second bounce is going to be. It stayed down on him. Protect yourself.
And
a gun. And a gun. Both he and Beltre.
Here's Jeff Clement. Clement 0 for 2 so far today. This hit over towards the first base side and through past the glove of Ryan Garco. So Clement is aboard a 1-out single here in the 7th. Well, just as we had started to talk about how there was no action in the bullpen, Betancourt gets ready in the Cleveland bullpen. Now, Billy, in a game like this, as we take one more look at Clement's rip into right field, you only get to this point 2 and maybe 3 if you're at the top of the order looks at the pitcher so far. Are you seeing drastic differences in Anthony Reyes? Are you starting to go back and tell Skip, hey, he is losing a little something, maybe he's getting tired, maybe something's developing, or even vice versa, so that the Indians know we should get some work in the bullpen?
No, the only thing you can do in this situation, Vinny, I think, is hope that he might hang something, because he really hasn't thrown that many pitches to be tired.
But what are the tells right now for Eric Wedge? What is he looking for that says maybe I should get somebody up in the bullpen just in case?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
No, I asked both sides, so you were right in your answer.
You don't want to put him in a situation, I think, where you're going to have runners at first and third, 1 out, may lose 2 miles an hour off the fastball, something like that. And coming off a game in which he threw 107 pitches, which is a high for him this year. So you may be a little more cautious in that situation, and you have somebody who has been so effective for you. And you're starting to miss just a little bit, pitch behind the count a little more, because he's been 1-1, 1-2 on almost everybody. And even the first pitch swingers are making outs. Carl Willis, the pitching coach for the Tribe. But now just a little bit. You're saying just a little bit where he's not quite as sharp, going 3-1 here to Hewlett. It would be 3-1, except it's 2-2. I'll leave the play-by-play to you.
Clement off first. 1 away. Top of the 7th inning. Reyes a quick look over, but he deals towards the plate. That's up and in. And the count moves full.
Yeah, we haven't seen a full count in a while.
Plus, Anthony Reyes has now reached the 100 pitch mark. And Billy, I know I'm not a big fan of pitch counts and that determining something, but that would be your magic number to start thinking about a pitching change at some point soon. Runner goes and fouled out of play.
Yeah, and I think, too, because the game is a one-run game, you may be more concerned to have your bullpen up and ready. If Anthony had a 3-run lead, maybe not. 4-run lead, maybe not. But in this situation where you can tell the way Washburn is throwing that runs are going to be a premium, you may go to the bullpen earlier.
Runner off once again. This one's hit over towards short and past Peralta. Moving from first to third is Clement. So the Mariners with something cooking here. Runners on the corners with just one out in the top half of the 7th inning.
And they had the shortstop Peralta covering. He tried to keep his spot. Didn't want to vacate it too early. Curveball, and Hewlett hit it just where it was pitched. You see Johnny make a move towards the bag. He had to be there just in case the batter struck out Hewlett. And just a perfect hit and run. Now the aforementioned Carl Willis going out to the mound to talk to his 26-year-old right-hander. And maybe give Bittencourt a little more time, but because he went out there, he's not going to make a move to pull him. So Jim Reynolds realizes this could be for more time, so he wants to go out there and monitor the conversation to see if indeed they're talking about something pertinent to getting somebody out.
There's one away in the top half of the 7th inning. Runners at the corners. Brian LaHare is due up next, followed by Yuniesky Betancourt, and then the top of the order. For Reyes so far, through those 102 pitches, he has allowed just 7 hits and 1 run through 6 1/3. But the Mariners threatening to add some more here in the top half of the 7th inning. Seattle with a 1-0 lead. And Brian LaHare, who's 1 for 2, steps in. Reyes quickly back to work. LaHare's first pitch swinging, fouls it out of play.
He's going to try to lift something, and Reyes going to try to sink something. You understand what you're trying to do in this situation. The pitcher knows what the hitter's trying to do. The hitter knows what the pitcher's trying to do. It's just who executes the best.
Runners with mild leads off on the corners. The 0-1 pitch. And that's lifted in the air once again as well, too, but it'll also find the seats down the third base line. 0-2.
Really has a good cutting fastball in on LaHare. And Brian trying to get extended, stay under it so he can lift it to the outfield. Again, you can see the shadows from the stadium creeping across from left to right. Makes it a little more difficult, I think, for most hitters to pick up change of speeds and the spin.
And that's inside, and the count moves to 1-2. Well, both pitchers have been effective so far, so as you mentioned, Billy, you got to push those runs across in any way you can. Here with 1 out, the Mariners will have an opportunity, even with 1 on the ground here at this point, depending upon where it's hit. You might be able to drive one in. This one on the ground, but down the first base line and foul.
See again, the bat
that
twirling too far.
That bat landed all the way out by Asdrubal Cabrera by second base.
And Garco could make a play on the ball, which could have been a double down the right field line driving in too, because he sees the bat twirling, breaking off at the hand. That's not a good thing.
Is it as simple as a question between the maple bats and all other kinds?
It seems to me it's more the maple bats, and players are using more maple over the last 3 or 4 years.
That swing, did he get a piece of it?
He got a piece of it. But that's just a weapon coming out, and somebody's going to get hurt, and they're going to have to address whether or not in the off season to have more ash bats made, or treat the maple differently.
Yeah.
You're just waiting for somebody to get hurt. You see almost 3 or 4 a game. We've seen 2 already.
Yep. Popped up on the infield. Cabrera's there, makes the play, so LaHare can't get the job done. And now there are 2 outs here in the 7th.
Oh, a good cutter on your hands as Drubal encouraging Anthony to get another out here.
So Yuniesky Betancourt steps in. We'll take one more look at it, Billy.
Oh, a cutter running in on his hands. You can see there he's trying to extend and get under it. And you just don't pick up the cut on the ball moving in on your hands. You see it somewhere, you approach the ball there, and the ball just slides in on your hands. He's not the only one that throws a cutter. Of course, the one who throws it the best is Mariano Rivera.
Well, with 2 outs, Yuniesky Betancourt, his first pitch swinging, and he's fishing. He's down in the count now, 0-1. Betancourt walked back in the 3rd. He was stranded and then flew out to left field back in the 5th.
I like that. A Mariner fishing.
That's the second one I didn't mean either. But I know I can count on you to keep him tracking. Betancourt lifts this one over to the first base side. This is into shallow right field. Is there room for Gutierrez? Did he make the play? Gutierrez went diving into the seats. They're going to check, and the play was made. Tim Timmons ran down to determine whether or not Gutierrez held on to that one, and Franklin Gutierrez makes an outstanding play to record the 3rd and final out of the inning. Here's one more look. Gutierrez having a battle with the fans and just able to get a piece of the glove on that one, Billy. A beautiful play by Gutierrez to end the frame.
And the fans really didn't see him coming. I would imagine if there are partisan Cleveland fans, as you see the one that was reaching, trying to help Gutierrez up. And Franklin, what a tremendous play there.
The Mariners clinging to a 1-0 lead as we move to the bottom half of the 7th inning of play. You're tuned to MLB.tv. Bottom of the 7th inning we go. It has been some great defense out on the field here at Progressive. That one by Jared Washburn in line off the bat of Johnny Peralta. A caught stealing of Raul Ibanez. Some incredible outfield play as well, too. The relay able to cut down Kelly Shopik at the plate. And then this one to end the last frame. Franklin Gutierrez able to hold on down the right field line. Name of the game so far today has been defense. On the second pitch seen by Ryan Garco, he taps out to Adrian Beltre, so 1 away.
And Beltre had a little problem with this. I don't know if he lost it in the sun or that second bounce, he was shying away as if he didn't pick it up. But he has a gun. He can take his time and make the play. Just at the end there, he sort of turned his head a bit as if he didn't pick that ball up towards the end. So maybe the sun is peeking through one of the openings in the stadium.
You bring up Shin-Soo Choo, who's 0 for 2 with 2 Ks. Down and away, ball 1.
Cleveland doesn't have a base hit since the second inning. Just how effective Jared Washburn has been. Can't pick up that sweep on the slider. Choo has had trouble with that his previous 2 plate appearances, both strikeouts. Raphael should be ready. Bet point.
And over towards the first base side. A diving play made by Lopez. Over to first and there for the out. So another sparkling defensive play. This one made by Jose Lopez. And there are 2 outs in the inning.
You'll have to add on to the highlight reel. Moving to his left, the All-Star vying for a Gold Glove with that play. Mel Stoudemire going out to the mound to talk to his 34-year-old left-hander as Jose straightens out his wrist guard.
It appears as if the Mariners defense knows as some bullpen action now out for Seattle. But it appears as if the Mariner defense knows that we only get Jared 3.7 runs per outing. And today it appears as if it's just going to be one. So we might need to step up our defense a little bit. Some great plays out in the field. Kelly Shopek comes to the plate, 1 for 2 so far today. The visit from Stoudemire complete. 2 outs here in the 7th. 1-0 Seattle. Washburn into the windup. He deals. Down and in.
I get the feeling this will be Jared's last inning.
Well, Billy, of course, in Friday night's game, J.J. Putz came in a 1-2-3 inning, picked up his 10th save of the year.
2 strikeouts.
Correct. This is down low, so the count now 2-0. However, for Seattle, it has not been an effective season out of the bullpen. Now, remember, Putz has been injured for most of the year, but at the same point, the bullpen and save opportunities, 27 for 51. Washburn at 105. He may need to go a little more.
27 for 51.
The 24 blown
24 saves.
Yeah, the 24 blown saves already tied for 3rd most in a season in club history. The record is 27. That was in 1997.
But I tell you what, when you're not scoring a lot of runs, as the Mariners do, a lot of the time you're holding on to a 1-run lead. So that could be a little misleading. Generally, if you have more offense, you have more distance between you and the opposition when it comes down to a save.
Well, a walk now for Jared Washburn, so Kelly Shopek is aboard. A 2-out walk.
And he's not going to let Washburn lose this contest as Jim Riggleman comes out of the dugout.
So a pitching change will be made by the Seattle Mariners for Jared Washburn, an incredible outing. In the 5th inning, he allowed a walk to Asdrubal Cabrera with 2 outs and then got Grady Sizemore to ground out to short. He's got 2 outs here. He has walked Shopek, and his day will be complete. We'll be back to wrap up the 7th inning as we continue here in Cleveland on MLB.tv.
Hey, this is Curtis Grant.
Hey, this is Adam Dunn.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
For all your Dodger gear. For all your Red Sox gear.
All your Yankees gear.
All your Blue Jay gear.
Your Cincinnati Reds gear.
For all your Twins gear.
Visit the official online shop of Major League Baseball at MLB.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including clubhouse caps and t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the MLB.com shop today.
How do you want to see the game? You want to be closer? Well, this is no ordinary ticket. This is your ticket.
Bottom of the 7th inning here with 2 away. A runner on first. That's Kelly Shopek. An absolutely gorgeous day here in Cleveland and an incredible afternoon for Jared Washburn. Once again, Billy, as we had discussed throughout the broadcast, run support clearly an issue. The Mariners only able to muster up 1 run from so far, but for Washburn, that was enough. He pitched beautifully.
Yeah, absolutely, Benny. 6 2/3. To this point, he hasn't given up a run. Surrendered only 3 hits. He walked actually more than he gave up in hits. Walked 4, struck out 8. Very impressive. 37-year-old Miguel Batista, who was their 5th starter last year. In fact, he won 15 games for the M's last year. Those are the numbers this season.
I guess, Billy, when you're a team that's on pace to lose near 100, your pitchers' records are going to suffer. But for Miguel Batista, it has been that kind of a year. It has been a tough year out on the hill. The ERA is elevated as well, too. Broken bat, hit over towards short. One pitch and grabbed by Betancourt for the third out of the inning. Yet another broken bat heads out onto the field, Billy, but the Mariners able to get out of this one after just one pitch. We go to the 8th. Seattle 1, Cleveland nothing. This is MLB.TV.
Hey, this is Curtis Grant.
Hey, this is Adam Dunn.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
For all your Dodger gear. For all your Red Sox gear.
All your Yankees gear.
All your Blue Jay gear.
Your Cincinnati Reds gear.
For all your Twins gear.
Visit the official online shop of Major League Baseball at MLB.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including clubhouse caps and t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the MLB.com shop today.
Let's move to the top half of the 8th inning of play. Those shadows that Billy's been talking about throughout the game, nearly encompassing both home plate and the pitcher's mound as a new pitcher comes out on the hill. And for Seattle, that might be good news because fireballer Rafael Betancourt steps into the game, making his 56th appearance. He's 3-4 on the year with 4 saves. But for right now, his job will be to hold the M's to that one-run lead. It's 1-0 Seattle here in the 8th.
Well, both teams are going to make pitching changes or have made pitching changes. So now it's up to the bullpens. But what a well-pitched game by the starters. But you get the feeling there's some kind of clutch hit that we haven't seen just yet. We've seen outstanding defense.
Will that clutch hit come from a Seattle Mariner? Could it be Ichiro Suzuki who leads off here in the top half of the 8th inning? Billy, you've told the story so often before when a team is losing like Cleveland is right now. It's only 1-0, but you're unable to muster anything. You start looking down on the bench and say, well, if it's not going to be me, who's the guy? Who's it going to be that's going to be getting the hit?
Please, teammate, whoever you are.
Top of the order here for Seattle. Ichiro, Jeremy Reed, and Adrian Beltre due up for the Mariners. Betancourt's first pitch. That's a fastball in there for a strike.
Last year, his season, I alluded to it earlier, was just incredible. 68 appearances, 5-1, 1.47 earned run average. Gave up only 51 hits and 79 in the third. Walked only 9. Struck out 80.
Wow. Sounds fake.
Yeah, you just can't put together back-to-back seasons like that.
A lot of times you end up pointing to teams that reach the postseason and then have success there and say, all right, it makes sense because player X, Y, and Z all had career-type seasons. And the teams that didn't, well, it makes sense because here X, Y, and Z just fell apart a bit. I think that's kind of the case here for this Cleveland team. 1 win shy of a World Series appearance. Right. Numbers like that from Rafael Betancourt.
The bullpen wasn't what it was the previous year.
Yep.
Betancourt, certainly a big part of that.
You can see the writing on the wall.
Yeah, CC Sabathia. The final year of his contract didn't get off to a great start. Carmona, Westbrook, hurt for a lot of the season. Jake is out all year. He had Tommy John surgery.
Ichiro laces one down the right field line. That's a fair ball. He's going to round first and make his way into second. It'll be a stand-up double here to lead off the top half of the 8th inning.
Did I say that I would pay to watch him play?
You certainly did, and I'm with you. Ichiro so far, Billy, today 3 for 4. He's got 2 singles, a double, and he flew out. And really the fly out was one heck of a defensive play by Grady Sizemore. Otherwise, Ichiro be on base every single time up. But that one put right down the right field line.
And he hits for the situation. You need an extra base hit here. Trying to add on. We've got it right here now. Jeremy Reed's going to try to move him over or hit a ground ball to the right side.
Well, Reed has been unsuccessful at that so far. Ichiro got on in the first. He popped out to short. Ichiro was on in the 6th. He flew out to center. Now Ichiro with a leadoff double here in the 8th. Let's see what Jeremy Reed can do. Betancourt a long look at Suzuki. This one, though, bunted down the third base line. It's a beauty. His only play is to first. Is Betancourt able to get Reed out? And Ichiro moves over to third.
Way to get the job done. Nice bunt by Reed. Last night, Ichiro went to steal third with a left-handed batter. This time, game more on the line, so they play it conservatively. That'll bring the infield in with Beltre at the plate.
Well, they say that an infield coming in brings your average up 80 points. Is that the? I mean, I might be throwing an arbitrary number out. Either way, it makes you a much better hitter. Your average takes a spike when the infield comes in as the Indians bring their infield defense even with the bags. Ichiro with speed over on third, and Beltre, who has reached once on a fielder's choice, steps in. First pitch swinging at a fastball, 94 miles an hour on that one. It's 0-1.
He's been pulling off some breaking pitches. I wonder if they're going to take the chance or Betancourt's going to try to elevate that fastball. He can pinpoint his fastball as well as any hard thrower in the league.
The 0-1 pitch. Did he hold? Check with Timmons.
I love Adrian. He points down for the appeal. I've seen him do that before.
We've caught him laughing a couple times so far at home plate. Here's another look at it. I know I didn't go, so before you mess it up behind home plate, why don't we get a quick look over it first? Betancourt, the 1-1 pitch. That's another one in the dirt, and a nice stop there once again by Shopik.
Cleveland broadcaster Mike Hegan, whose dad played for Cleveland, Jim Hegan, a catcher. He looked at us and we both sort of laughed. I've seen Adrian do that before, though. That's why I said he just has one of those personalities that's, well, Eric Wedge could care less about it at the moment. But
he wants any way to stop that run from third coming in. 2 balls and a strike. Betancourt, he's set and deals. Foul back behind home plate. 2-2.
So Betancourt, pretty much a 2-pitch pitcher, and you have to try to figure out which one you're going to get here. Has he made him aware of the fastball enough that he can throw the breaking ball? Get him on that check swing that he may or may not appeal at first.
It's going to be the job of Ichiro to know as soon as contact is made whether or not he can get home. 1 away here in the inning. The 2-2 pitch to Beltre. This one's lifted to right field, giving chases Gutierrez. He'll make the play. Ichiro is tagging. Here comes a strong throw to the plate, but it's up the line. And the Mariners have taken a 2-0 lead here in the 8th.
When the ball left the bat, you thought there's no way that anybody could throw out Ichiro with his speed. And my goodness, does Franklin make this close? What a strong arm. Ichiro looking at the play the whole time. He's just cruising.
Yeah, I wonder, I mean, if that ball is thrown directly on line, how close is that play?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And
He's
does Ichiro let up a tad at the end when he sees the ball go up the line?
Yeah, I think so.
You may not know.
But he just has tremendous speed. He's some kind of talent. Tremendous speed, tremendous arm. There's not anything he can't do. If you needed him to be a home run hitter, he'd do that too.
Well, the M's have doubled up their lead now. They have a 2-0 advantage. And based on how this game is going, that is gold right there. That is some serious insurance for the Mariners here in the top of the 8th. Raul Ibanez is 1 for 3 as he digs in. He's ahead in the count 1-0. Two away in the 8th, the pitch. Foul back. And just shy of us here behind home plate.
This is a situation, Vinny, last year where Cleveland's bullpen with Borowski at the end would give up nothing. Vinny, this is right back at us. You didn't flinch. I was impressed.
I was able to judge right off the bat. That wasn't reaching.
I was running for cover.
My keen eye sensed right away that ball was coming nowhere near us. Although, it ended up being what, about 10 feet away? The 1-1. There's a swing and miss. The count moves to 1-2. Why is it that nobody ever believes you when you say you knew that wasn't coming near you?
I believe you.
You were the only one. People back in the truck. Everybody here behind us. Yeah, sure. I knew right away that ball was not reaching us. It was close, but it was not reaching us. Billy did not seem as if you were going to take any cover. I think the two pros here noticed that was going to be a little shot. As Ibanez punches a 2-out single into right center field.
Well, as I was saying last year at this point, everything fit well for Cleveland down the stretch. Betancourt, especially against the Tigers, didn't give up a run. And here, Ibanez can hit, though. That's a 300 hitter. It was away from him, but up just enough that he could muscle it through the middle of the infield.
That's my 2-strike defense swing right there, says Raul Ibanez.
Yeah, but he gets base hits.
Yep. Here's Jose Lopez. Lopez is 0 for 3. Grounded out sharply in the 7th. Flew out in the 4th and struck out in the 2nd. With 2 outs, he's got a runner on first, and Ibanez, the pitch, in there for a strike.
And earlier in the broadcast, Vinny, we talked about the number of teams in the American League Central that have shared the title or the pennant. And you can understand some of those. A lot of people this year didn't necessarily feel that Cleveland was the team, even though they're a game away from the World Series, but that the Tigers would be the team. And Cleveland's ahead of the Tigers as we speak.
There's a fastball. 94 miles an hour on that one as well. Betancourt blows it by Lopez. The count's 0-2.
The team I'm really impressed with is Minnesota.
Yep.
How they do it year after year. Now
That's
they have
volumes for Gardner.
Continuity between Terry Ryan and Billy Smith, who both were players with the Twins in the 60s. But still, the job that Gardner has done.
Betancourt comes set. Long look to first. Here's the pitch. Lopez swings. He cannot hold up. Thought for a moment maybe he got a piece of it, but no, says home plate umpire Jim Reynolds. So Lopez down on strikes, but not before the Mariners are able to add yet another run. They take a 2-0 lead into the bottom of the 8th on MLB.TV.
How do you want to see the game? You want to be closer? Well, this is no ordinary ticket. This is your ticket to baseball heaven in high definition. Sharp Aqua's the official HD TV of Major League Baseball. And with a blazing 4-millisecond response time and a super fast refresh rate, there isn't a shot in the hole or a screamer down the line that will singe the hair in your nostrils. It will change your baseball-loving life.
Aqua's LCD TV. Change your TV, change your life. Sharp.
Are you an adrenaline junkie? At Grind TV on Yahoo Sports, you can submit your own videos or watch the pros in action. Check out the most outrageous, untamed, and awe-inspiring sports videos on the web, surfing, skateboarding, motocross.
Here's our defensive play of the game. As a matter of fact, there'll be two. They were both impressive. Jared Washburn converts a line drive into a double play. Some incredible reaction time there. How about on the Cleveland side of things? Well, Franklin Gutierrez comes through with a great catch down the right field line amongst a couple of fans into the stands. Franklin Gutierrez and Jared Washburn each coming through with our defensive plays of the game. Here's Asdrubal Cabrera on Asdrubal Cabrera bobblehead day. The fans in Cleveland with very little to cheer about on the offensive side throughout, trying to back their team here in the bottom of the eighth. One and one count now to Cabrera. Two walks thus far today. He's behind the count here, a ball and 2 strikes. We have heard very little of the drum out in the bleachers to this point as well too, Billy. Bottom of the eighth now finally starting to make its way through as Cabrera swings and gets a piece of it. No, he did not get a piece of it, and Cabrera goes down on strikes.
To this point, Batista has been very effective, making his 16th appearance out of the bullpen. A little tight slider. Oh, that is so tight. Really difficult for the hitter to pick it up when it breaks that late. And you really don't have to have a lot of break. The lateness of the break is what makes that pitch effective.
Pitch to Sizemore is in the dirt, and the count's 1-0. Well, the shadows now at this point clearly will not affect the hitter-pitcher battle anymore. It's probably mostly an outfielder thing. Another one in the dirt. I would think at this point, Ichiro out and right. Even the infielders probably getting away with it at this point. Ichiro and right, and perhaps Jeremy Reed out in center, the most affected by it.
Yeah, because right now it's time for batting practice, and usually that's the worst time for an outfielder to deal with the sun. The sun's right over the overhang of the stadium. Sometimes the sunglasses that Ichiro has on top of his cap, they are only decorative. That and sun glare and whatever else you're trying to cut the ball of the sun down.
Yeah, I would need as much as possible to help me out with the play. I trust Ichiro out and right, though.
Yeah.
Nice pitch by Batista. Just misses, though, so Sizemore's aboard with the walk.
And Cleveland only one big hit away as the Mariners outfielders take a step back. Does Reed in center. No doubles is the instruction from the dugout. Nothing over your head. If it goes over your head, make sure it's in the seats.
Franklin Gutierrez steps in. Gutierrez, a strikeout victim twice today for Jared Washburn. Washburn tied his season high with 8 strikeouts. He fell short of his career high, which was 10, set back in 2002 with the Angels. Batista had come on in relief in the 7th. Trying to preserve the lead right now. It was 1-0 when Washburn left. It is now 2-0 here in the bottom of the 8th.
The Mariners do have bullpen action because Cleveland's only one solid base hit away.
Hit back up the middle, under the glove of Yuniesky Betancourt and into center field. Moving first to third is Grady Sizemore. And with 1 out in the inning, the Indians have their biggest threat. Billy, the only other time that a Indian runner has even reached third base was Grady Sizemore back in the first inning.
And this is their first base hit since the second inning, as Betancourt gave it an effort. May have hurt himself a little bit on the dive. And with Sizemore's speed, Grady goes easily from first to third.
Well, now that extra run that the Mariners add in the top half of the eighth proves very important. Sizemore over on third. Gutierrez over on first. One away here in the eighth. And Ben Francisco steps in. Francisco 0 for 2 with a walk. The defensive setup, as you were talking about earlier, Billy, deep in the outfield for the Mariners. Tap foul.
And one of the things I like to see on each throw on a pitch that the catcher receives, Jose Lopez backs up to throw. And you see that in Little League, and it's somewhat impressive to see at the big league level, because you figure that everybody can throw from catcher to pitcher. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
So Francisco made quick work of by Miguel Batista. And now there are 2 outs with Johnny Peralta stepping in.
And there's your good night. A real good slider. Oh, looks like a fastball, knee-high outside part of the plate. You're just trying to make contact, maybe to poke him to right or keep your bat alive. No.
First pitch to Peralta, also a slider. That's down and away. 1-0. Boy, that kind of pitching makes you cringe.
No, it makes me say things that I can't say over the air.
Runners on the corners, 2 away. Peralta bails out as he swings, and the count moves even, 1-1. Well, the temptation here for Peralta might be to try to beat a hero. His team trails by 2 in the bottom of the 8th. Only 4 hits in the afternoon for the Indians. Runners stay put. Here's the pitch. There's a fastball for a strike.
But a great location. Clement slid the target outside, and Jeff received it just where he was setting up. Oh, yes, that's pretty. He may not have even had to pull it back in. Going back outside again.
The 1-2 pitch. Just tap foul by Peralta, so he stays alive.
That was a save right there.
Peralta's back foot is kicking out. He must be aware that there's the fastball or the slider that could be coming from Batista. And that back foot keeps bailing out on his swings. He's in a hole here, 1-2, the pitch on the way. Called strike 3. Jim Reynolds says it caught the corner. He's going to get an argument from Peralta, but to no avail as the M's get out of the inning unscathed once again. We go to the top half of the 9th inning here at Progressive Field. It's Seattle 2, Cleveland nothing. You're tuned to the MLB.TV Game of the Week on MLB.com. Well, it's a beautiful day, so really wherever you sit here at Progressive Field, you'll be comfortable. The view, however, I'm sure is a majestic one from way up top in right field. The Indians fans trying to get behind their club as they enter the top half of the 9th inning of play. It'll be a new pitcher out on the hill, making his 7th appearance of the season, Brendan Donnelly for the Tribe, a high 7.94 ERA. But of course, many people remember how dominant he was as a member of the Halos, Billy, and now here in an Indians uniform.
Well, we talked about Jared Washburn on the other side, and the year he had in 2002, 18-6 with a 3.15 earned run average. Well, Donnelly was big for them down the stretch too, setting up K-Ron.
For Seattle, Jeff Clement, Tug Hewlett, and Brian LaHare. First pitch is a ball. 33,387 on hand here at Progressive Field. Taking in a Saturday afternoon affair, walking home with the Asdrubal Cabrera bobblehead, and seeing a real incredible pitcher's duel, hoping that their team is able to muster up some runs as we sit here in the 9th inning. Seattle up 2-0. The Mariners, we talked about that bullpen and how ineffective it's been all year. J.J. Putz, who spent much time, I rather should say, to make more sense, on the DL for
stints
Putz.
this year, yes. Picking up his 10th save last night, hoping to pick up number 11 this afternoon. Donnelly has a real good split that acts as a changeup.
The 1-2. And this is lifted in the air. It appears it might stay in play for Ryan Garko. He makes his way over to the Mariners bench and is there to retire. Out number 1.
And that time it appeared to be the regular changeup. Jeff out in front of it and under it. Garko. Ryan knowing the terrain here, so he had plenty of room off first base. There it is, just a little out in front, and got under it.
So Garko able to retire out number 1 for Cleveland here in the top of the 9th. That brings up Tug Hewlett. Hewlett right now, his blow is the decisive one. It was a solo shot back in the 3rd inning of play. It was his first major league home run. It gave the Mariners a 1-0 lead. And so far it's holding up. The M's up 2-0 here in the top of the 9th.
Back in the old days when you had game-winning home runs, or game-winning hits, that would be the one.
Garko making another defensive play over at first, this time on the backhand, able to toss to Donnelly for out number 2.
Good to see a player that doesn't get a lot of attention for his defense. Crossover step, only took 1. Nice spin. 3-1. They work on it every day in spring training.
Billy, if you like pitching and defense, you had yourself a day here at Progressive Field today.
This is the place. I've counted no fewer than 6 outstanding defensive plays, and some are on our highlight reel.
First pitch to Brian LaHare is way up and out. 1-0 the count. In addition to Hewlett, who has that blast, his first of his career, the other story of this game has to be what was happening on the mound for both sides, really, although Jared Washburn is in the driver's seat to line up for a victory. Washburn tying a season high with 8 strikeouts. He lasted 6 2/3. Anthony Reyes, he also pitched very effectively. He went into and through the 7th. Allowed just 1 run.
He's coming off back-to-back starts in which he has allowed only 1 run in 7 innings.
Is this where I give the obligatory someone might be the hard luck loser here this afternoon?
Yes, I think this would be the appropriate spot.
All right. Consider it dropped. LaHare looks at another one outside, and the count now is 3-1. Seattle scored their 2nd run in the 8th inning after Ichiro led things off with a double. He moved to 3rd on the sacrifice bunt by Jeremy Reed and then was driven in on the sacrifice fly by Adrian Beltre. Nice fundamental baseball that time by the M's. Boy, Progressive Field, even Billy and you and I were talking about this as we were walking in today. Even as one of the older new ballparks, if that makes sense. It's one of the older new ones. Still a beautiful ballpark, a great setting to watch a game. There's really no bad seats.
And if you don't think so, let me tell you a tale about Municipal Stadium.
The old mistake by the lake. Upstairs, ball 4 to Lahair. He's aboard. Sounds like you spent some time at the mistake by the lake.
Oof. And this time of year, too, when the Browns were playing, Miguel Cairo going in as a pinch runner for Lahair.
So the M's will look to add a little speed over on first with Cairo. Perhaps try to push another run across. They own a 2-0 lead here in the ninth. Lahair is the first baseman. Cairo, of course, a man of many positions, so he could theoretically just take right over at first. Pitch to Betancourt in there for a strike.
Miguel not really a base stealing threat, but in case Unieski hits one in the gap, he has the speed to score from first.
Billy, while we have a moment, I want to get back to what was it about Municipal Stadium that just made the experience so rough?
Well, it seated about 72,000, and they would sell out opening day, and you get maybe 5,000 the next day. During this time of the year when the Browns were playing and the field was dug up, they would try to resod it. It was mismatched, different levels. You try to make a play on a ball, and that's an E something coming.
Runner goes. This one hit back up the middle, but grabbed by Asdrubal Cabrera, who touches second. Cabrera was going over to second to cover the bag after Cairo was leaving from first. Perfect position for him to grab it, tag the base, and record the out. Here's another look at it as we move to the bottom half of the ninth inning of play. The M's up by 2 on MLB.tv.
Hey, this is Curtis Grant.
Hey, this is Adam Dunn.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
For all your Dodger gear. For all your Red Sox gear.
All your Yankees gear.
All your Blue Jay gear.
Your Cincinnati Reds gear.
For all your Twins gear.
Visit the official online shop of Major League Baseball at MLB.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including clubhouse caps and t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the MLB.com shop today.
How do you want to see the game? You want to be closer? Well, this is no ordinary ticket. This is your ticket to baseball heaven in high definition.
So a couple changes made by the Seattle Mariners entering the bottom half of the ninth inning of play. It'll be last licks for the Cleveland Indians. For the Indians, they will send their 5, 6, and 7 hitters up to the plate. Ryan Garko, Shin-Soo Choo, and Kelly Shopik due up to face J.J. Putz. Putz recorded save number 10 on Friday night in a victory over the Cleveland Indians. He'll look to add to that mark. Comes in his 39th appearance for the Seattle Mariners. A couple of other defensive changes made as well. Over at first base, Miguel Cairo, who came in to pinch run for Brian Lahair, just stays out there and will take over at first base. And also a new catcher for the Seattle Mariners as Jamie Burke takes over behind the plate in place of Jeff Clement. So J.J. Putz underway here against Ryan Garko. First pitch outside for a ball, 1-0.
Putz, you don't have to wait for it. J.J. has a hard fastball and a split. And Ryan will see one, if not both of those.
The 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. Just as you said, Billy, there it is, the 1-1.
Yeah, not a lot of secrets there. I think he really came into his own, J.J., when he struck out Barry Bonds 3 years ago in a series. That drummer came over from the other stadium, too.
The 1-1 over towards second and through for a base hit. So Ryan Garko starts things off in the ninth with a leadoff single for Cleveland.
But a few years ago when he struck out Bonds back-to-back saves, one on a fastball and one on a split. This one out away from Ryan. Hit it where it was pitched.
Well, thanks to Garko, the Indians have something cooking here in the ninth, and now Shin-Soo Choo had a rough day at the plate, 0 for 3. He's got 2 strikeouts, and his last time up, he laced one over towards second, but a nice defensive play by Jose Lopez cut him down. Billy, I would echo your comments, though, about J.J. Putz and how effective he has been. Runner not being held on over at first. The first pitch is upstairs, ball 1. Putz this year came across some injuries, and the bullpen has had its troubles for Seattle, but you're absolutely right. I mean, he came into a zone to where he was the most maybe unrecognized but most dominant unrecognized closer in all of baseball.
Good way of putting it.
The 1-0. That just misses. It's 2-0.
And when you've had injury, most people come back too soon. I'm sure JJ is one of those as well. Hyperextended elbow the first time. Had problems with the muscle around the rib cage for his second stint on the DL. So you're going to lose either velocity or, as in JJ's case, command.
The 2-0 pitch. That's going to miss as well, and the count now is 3-0. Billy, I always felt that the toughest position to be put in was a closer. Because basically Putz, he's been stretching and warming up, but he gets inserted into a game in which his team has played flawlessly. They've got 2 runs up on the board. Jared Washburn started and has pitched beautifully throughout. And now here you come in, really with everything to lose. You're expected to close this one out, and Putz his run into trouble. Gets a strike over there. It's 3-1.
You really have to have some kind of makeup in order to do what he does. Now in his 5th year out of the University of Michigan.
Runner on first is Garko. Cairo keeps him close but backs off. Here's the pitch. That's fouled back into the screen by Choo. 3-2. Choo at .269 on the season, has 7 home runs. One of the few players in Major League Baseball to go with the double flap helmet. Putz comes set. The 3-2 pitch. This is lifted into deep right center field. Jeremy Reed gives chase. He looks up, and the ball is gone. A 2-run blast off the bat of Shin-Soo Choo. And the Indians have knotted this one up at 2 apiece here in the bottom half of the 9th inning.
Well, JJ's having one of those kinds of seasons. Fastball knee high, didn't appear to have a lot of velocity to it. You kind of dial it up a little bit in this situation anyway. I'm guessing it was about 92, 93. And Choo turned on it.
And the crowd applauding the efforts of Shin-Soo Choo. A 2-run blast has tied this one up here in the bottom of the 9th. Now for Jared Washburn, it becomes a no decision. For Anthony Reyes, it becomes a no decision. For J.J. Butts,
a blown save.
And for the Seattle Mariner bullpen, that is now 27 for their last 52. Out of play it goes.
And when you're based on pitching and defense, as the Mariners are, or certainly were at the beginning of this season, 25 blown saves is quite a few. A few years ago, Kansas City had 34, and I thought, oh my goodness, how do they come back time after time? Well, the Mariners don't score that many runs.
For Seattle and their bullpen, as you mentioned, Billy, that 25th blown save, now 2 shy of the club record in 1997, in which the team blew 27 saves. In 1986, Seattle blew 26 saves. And now here in 2008, well, that's the 3rd best mark at 25. Puts, by the way, not out of the woods yet. Broken back, grounder towards short, fielded by Betancourt over to first in time for the out. 1 away.
I think that's flying bat number 5 this afternoon. Nothing for Puts to do but to recover. Kelly got that off the end of the bat. That's why the remainder is in his hands as he's running towards first. And JJ having to duck.
And that bat landed nearly over by third base.
Pitchers shouldn't have to duck bats.
Here's Andy Marte. Marte looks at a first pitch for a strike. Well, it might be becoming part of the norm if you're on defense for Seattle this year. You've watched games in the late innings just slip away. Here's yet another one at Progressive Field today.
It's tough because, Vinny, you start to sense it. You start to feel it. I've been on teams like that where, for whatever reason, you're not closing out games and you lose a couple where you thought you had one, and it affects the whole psyche of the team.
And the feeling has to be worse for Puts. He just came into the game, and now the score's tied at 2. Struggling here in the 9th inning. He has one out. And he's ahead of Marte 1 and 2, but the damage at this point has been done. And the best case scenario for Puts is to make a slow walk back to the dugout in hopes that his team has another at bat in the 10th. The 1-2 pitch. Upstairs, 2-2.
But do you feel a little bit for Jared Washburn?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You chronicled how little run support he's gotten this year all the way back to 2005. You throw a game as well as he threw, striking out 8 in 6 2/3, and you come up with a no decision.
There's a swing and a miss by Marte, so he goes down swinging. That's out number 2.
And with a guy coming off as many injuries as JJ has had, as Andy taking the bat back to the dugout, you wonder if a night game followed by not quite a night game, if his body, his arm, has enough time to recover. Not quite 24 hours between saves.
Sure. Only he would know, coming off the injury, how well he feels. Billy, those that are fans of storylines would certainly think about how Asdrubal Cabrera here on his bobblehead day has an opportunity to help the Indians. 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. We're tied at 2 apiece. The pitch. And that's lifted down the left field line and out of play.
Tied him up with the fastball.
If you're looking ahead to the top half of the 10th, the Mariners have the top of the order. Ichiro Suzuki, followed by Jeremy Reed, and then Adrian Beltre, all due up in the top of the 10th. Cabrera down in the count 0-2. Upstairs, 1-2.
Show him that fastball upstairs, and probably will back it up with the split. Changing eye level.
Shin-Soo Choo with a 2-run home run off of J.J. Putz here in the bottom of the 9th has tied it up at 2 apiece. Did that one get a piece of Cabrera? It did not, so the count moves even, 2-2. After Cabrera would be Grady Sizemore. Indians fans declaring a tribe time here in the bottom of the 9th. Down low, and the count moves full, 3-2.
You would have to think you're going to get a fastball in this situation.
There's a look at Grady Sizemore. Sizemore reached base twice with a double and a walk. He would be on deck next, or he would be at the plate next, rather, if Cabrera could reach. 2-away in the 9th. The 3-2 pitch. Tap foul.
I don't know if you can take the chance of throwing something off speed and walking Cabrera with Sizemore on deck. That's the reason I said would have to think you're going to get a fastball here.
True. But then again, if the hitter knows it that well too and can jump on that pitch, that's where that execution you talk about. Yeah. We'll do it again. The 3-2. Tap foul once again.
There went the off speed, yes. As Drupal thinking as Vinny. Oh, and Vinny bobblehead.
One of these days, Billy, we'll get our bobblehead made.
No, I defer to you. I want to see yours.
2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th. Cabrera in the box. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Putz, deals. Hit over towards second. Cut in front by Cairo. Cairo tosses to first. And Putz is there, just able to beat out Cabrera for the 3rd and final out. But the 2-run shot up the bat of Shin-Soo Choo has helped the Indians tie things up at 2 apiece. We go to extras here at Progressive Field. This is MLB.tv. At Progressive Field, the home of the Cleveland Indians. A 2-2 score thanks to Shin-Soo Choo, the left fielder, with a 2-run blast off of J.J. Putz in the bottom half of the 9th inning. has tied this one up at 2 apiece. Into the top of the 10th we go. Jensen Lewis on the hill for Cleveland. Appearance number 40 for him, still without a win on the season, although the ERA is down to a 4.05. He will face the top part of the order for Seattle. First pitch is a ball to Ichiro Suzuki.
Pretty good strikeout to walk ratio. Almost 2-to-1 coming out of the pen.
Ichiro having himself a day. He singled back at the first. Flew out to center sharply on a nice play made by Grady Sizemore in the third. Then he singled in the sixth and doubled and scored a run in the eighth. And run in the eighth was important at the time because of insurance. It ultimately became important because Chu's home run would have won the game. The 3-0 pitch, that's in there for a strike, 3-1.
Ichiro with his hits today moves past Shula's Joe Jackson. 367 on the all-time list, not counting the hits he had in Japan.
Yeah. So Ichiro able to reach base on a walk. And that'll bring up Jeremy Reed. 5 plate appearances for Ichiro. He has reached base in 4 of them. Last time, Reed able to successfully sacrifice Ichiro over. We'll see how Jim Riggleman plays it here in the 10th.
Harder to do against somebody throwing this hard.
First pitch down low for a ball. Now Shopik's going to go out and talk to Jensen Lewis.
Because you have to get the bat out in front of the plate to keep it fair. And because Lewis throws hard, you almost have to give a little bit, like catching an egg, as people would say, because you don't want to pop it up.
Is that the hardest pitch to bunt?
Good hard fastball, I think, yes. High, hard fastball.
What would the easiest be?
Oh, maybe a 78-mile-an-hour BP fastball.
Which, of course, you see frequently in game action. So.
When you're practicing, that's all you see. Ichiro with 40 bases. So if Reed's not going to bunt.
He stays here as Reed taps over to first. Fielded by Garco. Over to second. Back to first. Not in time. Reed able to beat out the return throw. Fielder's choice on the play takes Ichiro off the base paths, 1 away.
But you can see the makeup of the umpires because the bang play, Timmons was thinking about punching him out. Oh, I'm gonna safe. They're used to calling strikes and outs. They like doing that.
Yeah. Although I didn't think that one was all that close, to be honest with you.
Well, if it were going to be bang, then he was going to be out.
I'm impressed. I really am impressed with what the umpires do in real time out on the field with one view at it. Up and in to Adrian Beltre. They get the calls right 99% of the time. Unfortunately, the ones that they don't get right at times end up either being fairly glaring or are repeatedly shown. And of course, in today's day and age with the technology available, everybody gets repeated looks at the calls. Beltre lines one into right center field. That's going to get down for a hit. Reed rounds second, makes his way into third, and with 1 out, the Mariners have runners on the corners. So Adrian Beltre comes through. Already with an RBI in this game, he sets up Raul Ibanez here in the top of the 10th.
Yeah, the last part of the day, Adrian's swing has looked a little better, getting the aforementioned RBI. And here, fastball up out over the plate. Cabrera gave it a jump, but because his outfield is so deep, and the outfielders in this situation playing so deep, you can go from first to third on almost any play. And now you have your team's best hitter, or second best hitter at the plate.
And a ball down low from Lewis to Raul Ibanez. Well, Ibanez 2 singles in this contest, 2 for 4. Opportunity here with the defense playing midway. Fouled out of play.
It almost appears that the middle infielders are short enough that if they don't think they can get a sure double play ball, they could come to the plate. But certainly they're looking to turn 2 in the situation.
Yeah, although you do have Jeremy Reed over on third base, and he has speed, so it'll be a difficult play to make. But at the same point, yeah, I guess it keeps him available for a double play out or the chance to go home. And that one's hit in between first and second. Raul Ibanez with an RBI single. The throw is behind Beltre at second, but he's able to get back and tag the bag just in time. An RBI single for Raul Ibanez, and the Mariners regain the lead 3-2.
If you have 2 good hitters, you might as well have one of them at the plate. And Ibanez has been swinging a hot bat, has the average over 300, and adding to it here. And adding to his team high RBI total. Mariners take a 1-run lead here in the 10th.
Well, now Jose Lopez steps in as Jeremy Reed scores the go-ahead run. The Mariners regain the lead 3-2 here in the top half of the 10th. Jensen Lewis unable to get the job done this half. Still just 1 out in the inning. The pitch. There's a called strike. Well, Billy, let's fast forward now to the bottom of the 10th, and it'll be the top half of the order due up for the Indians with Sizemore, Gutierrez, and Francisco scheduled to hit. Tapped over towards short.
That hit the runner.
Now they're going to claim, is that the call, Billy?
Yeah,
they're going to claim from Peralta.
It hit Beltre. So he is out. And Lopez is credited with a base hit, I believe, unless they felt he intentionally was hit. So we're going to see how they rule on this one.
Let's grab another look.
If it's unintentional, then the base runner is out. Now he's trying to shield the shortstop.
Yeah, it definitely looked as if it changed direction, Billy.
Yes.
If that is the case, Beltre would be out. It'd be the 2nd out of the inning. That's what's being discussed right now by the umpires over just to the left.
If they felt that it was inadvertent, then the base runner's out. And Lopez is credited with a base hit.
Right.
Now, Eric Wedge is going out to argue he's not real pleased with this.
And that's the ruling. That's what it's going to be, what you said, Billy.
But if they felt that he intentionally was hit by the ball, then I'm thinking that, and forgive me for not knowing the rules, but I think that's a double. I'm thinking that's a double play or some kind of obstruction that didn't allow the double play to be turned.
Now that's what Eric Wedge is arguing right now. This would make it 2 outs here in the inning. It would keep Lopez over on first, and Ibanez would move into second.
Yeah, there's going to be an out anyway, but I think Wedge is arguing for a double play out in that situation.
Obviously, that's a double play ball, the grounder over towards short. You'd figure Peralta would be able to get it to Cabrera. Wedge has now just been tossed from the game.
Yeah, Fielding Culbreth. Wedge felt had the call, and Cubby's on the right there. And Gary Cedarstrom, the crew chief, trying to protect his smaller umpire mate. I'm sure, well, I'm not sure, but I believe that if indeed they felt that Beltre intentionally shielded the middle infielder there, then that could be ruled a double play. I'm thinking that's why Eric is upset, and subsequently we'll watch the rest of the contest from inside.
Well, the ruling, Billy, is exactly as you stated. Beltre is out because the ball hits him in between second and third, so he's out. But the ruling is Lopez gets a base hit in the process, so that's why there are runners on first and second right now.
Yeah, the putout goes to the shortstop.
Yeah.
But
so
I'm
wacky play.
Without really knowing, I'm pretty sure that if the umpire felt that the base runner tried to get in the way.
This one grounded up the middle. It's going to give an opportunity for the M's to tack on another run. Ibanez hustling into home, and Seattle grabs a 2-run advantage, 4-2 here in the 10th.
Then that's a double play. The inning is over, and Cleveland trails by only 1. Because it wasn't called that way, now they trail by 2 when they bring the top of the lineup to the plate in the bottom of the 10th.
Well, how about Jamie Burke coming in, his first plate appearance, and 1 pitch and a single. So he has an RBI, and here's Tug Hewlett. Ibanez hustling all the way with Seattle's 4th run of the game. For Jensen Lewis, it has not been a good inning following up the Indians' 2-run dramatic tying home run by Shin-Soo Choo. Seattle following right back up with 2 runs of their own.
You were talking about Cleveland trying to battle after the 10-game winning streak, losing last night, to play 500 ball, whereas Seattle trying to avoid losing 100. They're playing only 381 ball as it is.
Right.
They would have to play 470, make that 438 ball in order to avoid, as we take another look at Cubby. Fielding Culbreth, the umpire on the call at 3rd.
Hewlett swings through an off-speed pitch that counts 1-2.
So they would have to go 12-16 in order to avoid losing 100. They lost 104 back in 1978, the 2nd season of the franchise's existence.
Swing and a miss by Hewlett. So Hewlett down on strikes, but not before Seattle picks up 2 here in the top half of the 10th inning of play. We go to the bottom of the 10th. Does Cleveland have any more heroics in them? They trail by 2. 4-2 Seattle. This is MLB.TV.
Hey, this is Curtis Grant.
Hey, this is Adam Dunn.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
For all your Dodger gear. For all your Red Sox gear.
All your Yankees gear.
All your Blue Jay gear.
Your Cincinnati Reds gear.
For all your Twins gear.
Visit the official online shop of Major League Baseball at MLB.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including clubhouse caps and t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the MLB.com shop today.
How do you want to see the game? You want to be closer? Well, this is no ordinary ticket. This is your ticket to baseball heaven.
Well, here's another look at the play. A controversial call, but one that ended up, I guess you could say, helping the Mariners. Adrian Beltre hit by a ball in between 2nd and 3rd. He is out either way. Eric Wedge gets tossed in the process, arguing that that was intentional by Adrian Beltre. And if it were intentional, then that would have it meant a double play would have been
correct,
recorded.
because he impeded the fielder's chance to turn a double play. I'm not sure if they would have, and maybe that's a judgment call too by the umpire. And I think Beltre tried to shield the shortstop Peralta, but I'm not sure if you take a look at Sean Green making his 64th appearance.
It will be his turn now to try and nail down the save here for Seattle after Putz could not do the work in the 9th.
It would be his first save of the season.
He'll face Grady Sizemore to kick things off in the bottom of the 10th. A 2-run cushion for Seattle. Green deals. Tapped over to first, foul.
Actually, I think the ball took a hop and surprised Beltre a little bit. But still, it's not the intent. It's what happens.
Right. I mean, you
and
probably
I can understand Eric Wedge and why he was upset about that.
You probably assume a lot of players try to do the I'll get as close as I can to it and let it slide by. And if the ball takes a little bit of a twist or a hop or something and it hits you, then again, the no intent is there, but you're out.
Right.
And it seems as if that was what was made out on the field, that call. So I do understand it.
Yeah. 95% of the time when you get hit like that, you're trying to avoid getting hit.
This one's lifted down the right field line, but that's going to be foul. So Grady Sizemore gives one a ride, but it skips to the right of the foul pole. He's now at a 2-2 count.
That sidearm sinker. And a sharper slider.
This one ripped down the right field line, and this one will stay fair. Off into the corner. Sizemore is going to test the arm of Ichiro to throw to second. Just in there. Sizemore with a leadoff double here in the 10th.
You have to be impressed. Two teams that aren't going to the playoffs, and yet there is no quit in either one of them. And no quit in this All-Star, two-time All-Star, and he challenges Ichiro, who has a gold glove, 7 of them.
And the throw is on, Billy, so you're basically talking about each at their best.
Each All-Star making a play.
He made it in there, but is it a risky move to test the arm of Ichiro down by 2? When you would think a guy that has over 30 steals could have maybe just grabbed second base a couple of pitches later, if he really wanted.
And in essence, his run doesn't mean anything in the overall scope. But you want to put yourself in a situation to score that run, to put pressure on the defense. And it's a calculated move, but it worked for Grady.
The 1-0 pitch to Gutierrez is outside 2-0, and now it'll be Sean Green's job to try and not get rattled by that. Sizemore was hustling out of the box, so you can't argue with that. But to test the arm of Ichiro was curious to get into second base. Well, it all works out for Grady in the end. A leadoff double. The 2-0. There's a strike.
Sean slings in at 6'6". You can imagine sometimes it might be a little difficult to pick up the release point, especially for right-handed hitters.
Hit over towards short, a one-hopper grabbed by Betancourt. No advancement by the runner. The throw to first will be out number 1. So Gutierrez fails to advance the runner, although, as you had mentioned, Billy, because it's a 2-run deficit at this point, the Indians still just need hits.
But advantage Mariners, because Green will face right-handed hitters the next 3 if it takes him that long.
He's got 1 out so far here in the 10th. And a strike called to Ben Francisco. Pitching the name of the game to start things off. Jared Washburn and Anthony Reyes both put their teams in a position to win. Tug Euler with his first major league home run gave the M's the lead. They had a 2-0 lead into the bottom of the 9th inning. As Francisco lifts one into center, and a diving grab is made by Jeremy Reed. Jeremy Reed with a tremendous defensive play out in center field for out number 2.
Great play number 7 and counting. If you can find a hole here, you have a run scored and a base runner at first, if not second. Ball stayed up. Jeremy made a nice diving catch.
So Reed helping out the cause of Sean Green, and now it'll be Green's job to retire Johnny Peralta. 2 outs here in the 10th, a 4-2 lead for Seattle. As I was saying, a 2-run lead for Seattle entering the 9th, when Shin-Soo Choo hit a 2-run home run off the bat of J.J. Putz into dead center field. Tied the game at 2, but the Mariners came right back with 2 runs of their own at the top of the 10th. And now standing out away from picking up the victory.
You get the feeling that the Mariners have put more offensive pressure on the opposition today than vice versa. But still, you're only 1 out away from tying the game. 1 pitch away from tying the game.
Down and away. Some of the 33+ thousand have headed for the exits, but many remain here at Progressive Field, waiting to see if their Indians have one more breath in them. 2 balls and a strike to Peralta. Green kicks and deals. That just misses, and the count's 3-1.
Now what do? You have a base open, yet Peralta is the potential tying run. But Johnny has 21 home runs and power to all fields.
I think I'd rather not bring that winning run to the plate. He does challenge, hit back up the middle and through for a base hit. Sizemore will round third, and he'll easily score, and Johnny Peralta has made this a 4-3 game. Seattle not out yet.
As an alumnus of this game, I'm almost proud with the way these 2 teams are playing, going nowhere, and yet a lot of star power and a lot of we're not going to say die.
Another look at the Johnny Peralta single back up the middle. It's an RBI single. It makes the score 4-3.
Do we have a pinch runner for Peralta? Looks like Jamie Carroll.
So Jamie Carroll heads over to first. No pinch run. Ryan Garco would be scheduled to hit, but Victor Martinez has made his way into the on-deck circle. Billy, we spoke at the top of the broadcast. Victor Martinez, the big bat in that Cleveland lineup that was missing for such a long time because of injury.
Missed 2.5 months.
There's Martinez.
Bone chips and bone spur. Now Jim Riggleman going out to the mound. They want to know, he wants to know from Jim Reynolds if Martinez has been announced. Not sure if he wants to have him bat from the left side or the right side, but he's making a pitching change.
So Sean Green comes in, gets 2 outs. Grady Sizemore's leadoff double comes around to score. It makes the score 4-3 Seattle. And now Jim Riggleman will make a switch. Victor Martinez coming up to the plate next for the Indians, trailing by 1. This is MLB.tv.
Are you an adrenaline junkie? At Grind TV on Yahoo Sports, you can submit your own videos or watch the pros in action. Check out the most outrageous, untamed, and awe-inspiring sports videos on the web, surfing, skateboarding, motocross, and so much more. For the sickest action sports videos, check out Grind TV on Yahoo Sports.
New pitcher into the game for the Seattle Mariners. Randy Messenger makes his way in. The right-hander will be making his third appearance as Jim Riggleman makes the pitching change here in the bottom half of the 10th inning of play. A couple of other changes as well. As we spoke about over on first base, Jamie Carroll comes in to pinch run. He takes over for Johnny Peralta, who had the RBI single to make it 4-3. His run, though, is important. It would be a tying run. And if it's brought in, it'll be because of the bat of this man, Victor Martinez, in a pinch hit appearance. Don't worry about the numbers. He has been injured for much of the season. An ineffective Victor Martinez in the early part, but still a very dangerous threat when that Indian lineup returned back to the lineup last night and now comes in a pinch hit appearance here for the Tribe in the bottom of the 10th. Carroll leads off first. Messenger ready to deal to Martinez. The pitch. That's an off speed in there for a strike.
And you saw the 0 home runs. Victor felt that the elbow injury, the bone spurs and bone chips really cut into his power. Always has been a great hitter.
Can hit for average as well as power. He looks at a ball now, so the count moves even, 1-1.
Messenger also pitching with the Marlins and the Giants.
He's got 2 outs here in the 10th. He needs just to get 1. Seattle clinging to a 4-3 lead. They've had several opportunities to close out the Indians, have not done so yet. The pitch. There's a called strike, and the count now is 1-2.
Right over the top, knee-high, outside part of the plate.
Take another look at that one. Stays about knee-high, Billy. Fans want to see Martinez do something special here. 2 outs, the 1-2. Hit over towards second. Rolled into the glove of Lopez, who throws to first in time for the out, so Martinez can't get the job done. In comes Randy Messenger for the save, and Seattle holds on for a 4-3 victory here at Progressive Field. The Indians threatened once again, Billy, putting up a 1 spot in the 10th after 2 runs to tie it in the 9th. The game itself took 3 hours and 15 minutes, but Cleveland's second opportunity falls short. The Mariners pick up a 4-3 victory here in Cleveland. We'll be back to wrap things up on MLB.tv. all adds up to a Seattle 4-3 victory over the Cleveland Indians. 13 hits scattered throughout. The Indians had some drama at the end. They were able to tie things in the ninth thanks to a Shin-Soo Choo 2-run blast, but could not come back in the 10th. Seattle picks up the victory. J.J. Putz gets the win. Randy Messenger picks up the save, and Jensen Lewis falls to 0-4 on the season. Here's how all of this unfolded. We take a look back in the second inning. Well, it was some early defense here as with Jeremy Reed relay throw, and then eventually Betancourt able to nail Kelly Shopik at the plate. That one ended the inning. Talk about how much defense the Mariners had. Well, a little offense too. Tug Hewlett picked up his career first home run. That went into right center field. It gave the Mariners the 1-0 lead. Jared Washburn was the story of this game in the early going. 8 strikeouts tied a season high, went 6 2/3 innings, and helped the Mariners to that lead. But in the 9th inning, up by 2, puts on, and Shin-Soo Choo with a 2-run blast into dead center field. At that point, the Tribe were flying high, tying things up at 2 apiece. But then the top of the 10th, the Mariners came right back, and Raul Ibanez, with this hit into right center field, helped the M's regain the lead. They scored 2 runs in the inning, and then it was all nailed down by Randy Messenger, able to get Victor Martinez in a pinch hit appearance to ground out to second for the final out of the game. The Mariners picked up a 4-3 victory over the Cleveland Indians. Here's a look at that final recap. Choo with the big game-tying 2-run home run, but Raul Ibanez in that game-winning RBI single in the 10th helped the Mariners to the 4-3 victory, and for Tug Hewlett, his first career home run, so he comes out flying high after this one as well, too. His home run helped the Mariners eventually get the win. For a while, Billy, it was a ball that could have been the game-winning home run, and remember we spoke about that earlier, how he used to keep track of such a stat. But for Hewlett, a victory, a home run, his first of his career, a good day, and for the Mariners, a very well-played victory here at Progressive Field.
Yeah, Vinny, we touched on it earlier. I'm really pleased that 2 teams that aren't going anywhere in particular played as well and battled as well as these 2 teams did this afternoon. Ichiro, we highlighted him. He was on base 4 times, 3 by base hits, and Ibanez, who would have been the star of the game last night, he came up with another stellar performance this afternoon.
Ibanez walks away as our MLB.TV player of the game. Ibanez here with the eventual game-winning RBI single. It came in the 10th. There's a single earlier in the game as well, too. Finished 3 for 5 with 3 hits, including that game winner in the 10th. Raul Ibanez walks away as our player of the game. Billy, you spoke about the effort from these 2 teams. I think that is the key to take away from this. Here you have a ball club that, because of the victory, improves to 52-83 now on the season. For Cleveland, well, they're still trying to chase that 500 mark, but we saw 2 teams go out and fight. We saw 2 managers who were making the moves necessary to try to keep their team in it. And all in all, this was real entertaining. This was good pitching. This was tremendous defense. And the Mariners gutted out a victory today.
Yeah, 7 outstanding defensive plays, Vinny, and the great pitching in which you alluded to. Reyes threw just as well, almost as Washburn did. But in the end, it seemed as though Cleveland gave up a run. They gave up a run at the plate on that fine relay throw by Betancourt, and they gave up a run on that controversial play at short.
And you can also look back to the great play Jared Washburn made in the first inning to stab a shot off the bat of Johnny Peralta that turned into a double play, would have scored a run if that ball gets through. So all in all, the Mariners, they went out today looking for a victory, and they were able to get one. A 4-3 win for Seattle over the Cleveland Indians. Plenty of people to thank. A great job done by everybody in the truck. Long hours, hard work put together, and helping put this one here from Progressive Field in the books. All in all, Jared Washburn, well, he gets the early star of the game. Raul Ibanez, the late star of the game. There's some great defense from Ibanez. From Washburn, and then the play at the plate as well, too. Seattle comes away a 4-3 winner. Ketchup walks away a winner, and here on this, what would be an air show day from Cleveland, well, the Tribe not flying high as Seattle comes away 4-3 winners in 10. For Billy Sample, I'm Vinny McCucci. Thanks to everyone who helped out. This is MLB.com.